Our new partner who I'm really, really excited to announce we are working with. Super, super stoked. Thank you, Angie Huberman, for this connect. It's incredible. AG1 Athletic Greens. I've been using them for a while. I have them every morning on an empty stomach. Basically take 1 scoop and you put it into a cup or glass or mug of 8 ounces of cold water. And this is all your greens for the day. You're absorbing 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. Every day I take this. It's so good for my digestion, my energy. It's simple, it's easy. I don't like taking a lot of vitamins. This has been really, really helpful for me. I've had a lot of stomach issues my whole life, and ever since I've been gluten-free and taking the AG1s, it's really helped me in my stomach in the mornings. I love it, and I'm so psyched that they're part of the One Life One Chance podcast. I'm sure a lot of people don't like eating greens, let alone drinking your greens, but I can tell you straight up, it's got a mild tropical taste, and the taste is actually really refreshing, and I really look forward to it each morning. Don't think it's just going to be just straight bland. It tastes really, really good, and it's good for you, so remember that. This one blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging. It's incredible, just 1 scoop, especially for musicians who are vegans or just musicians in general who want to get those daily greens. You can get the packets. It's incredible. I just gave some to my friend Derek from Sepultura. He traveled the whole entire world this summer, and he had those every single day. He said it saved him. I bring AG1s with me when I travel. It helps me stay healthy. You know the deal. If you're on tour and you are a picky eater, but you need to have your greens, sometimes catering doesn't have greens. Sometimes you miss the catering. Sometimes you miss the backstage food. Sometimes it's too late after the show to go get food that you like. So if you just have a scoop of AG1s in your hotel room before you go to bed, or you're in the hotel room at night and you're starving, you want something healthy, boom, life changer. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with some convenient daily nutrition. That's all you need, 1 scoop in a cup every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. This is it. I'm super psyched. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit drinkag1.com/OLLC. That's drinkag1.com/OLLC. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. This is incredible. I love it. It's just basic greens. For me personally, this has changed my life tremendously. I'm not a junk food vegan. I don't eat a lot of fake meats, so I'm strictly greens. And this has been a wonderful, wonderful new addition to my life. So once again, visit drinkag1.com/OLLC. That's drinkag1.com/OLLC. Get 1 free year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. That's drinkag1.com/OLLC. Yo, Liquid Death, thank you so much for hydrating all my guests, taking care of me and my family and my friends. Love your water, love your brand, love what you stand for, love what you give back to the community. If you want to learn more about Liquid Death and how it started, listen to episode 115 with the co-founder, owner, and creator of Liquid Death, Mike Cesario. Just a punk rock skateboarding kid from Delaware with a dream. It's an incredible story, incredible journey. So if you go liquiddeath.com/Toby, you get free shipping on any items you order from liquiddeath.com. And if you want to get water, Liquid Death water, go to amazon.com. But for merchandise and other things that's not water, go to liquiddeath.com/Toby and get free shipping. Thank you so much, Liquid Death. Death to plastic, murder your thirst, stay hydrated. You know H2O saves lives. Welcome to the One Life One Chance podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse. Today I have my brother from another mother, my man, Mr. Derek Green. Thank you for being here.
Yo, what's up, man? How you feeling?
Love having you here.
Thank you for having me.
Loving your home.
Yes, I do love it when I'm home.
I love punishing you about the podcast. He gets home one day from tour. I'm like, we got these podcasts next week.
Like, I just got home. My God, let me get a break.
Well, thank you for being here. And I know I'm going to say his name wrong. I'm going to try to do it first.
Okay? let's hear it, because you love to slaughter people's names.
No, I don't. Jyrki.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
That was pretty good.
From 69 Eyes. You say it.
Yes, exactly.
Jyrki.
Yes, you can say it.
Now,
right.
Jyrki, you say it.
Yes, I'm Jyrki, the singer of the
Jyrki.
69 Eyes, all the way from Helsinki, Finland.
Yeah! And he was saying Norway.
Yo, it's on my notes.
I was like, dude, it's radically different.
Helsinki, Finland, right on my paper.
Yes.
Okay, on your paper.
Thank you for being here, man.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and thanks for being in this show. It's one of my favorite shows, of course, and you being personally Toby being like an example for me all these years, which we can talk about later on. But I'm glad I have chance to grow this state what I am right now, that I can sit here, behind this table and with you guys in the studio.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you, man.
But I mean, it's simply because of your example, and also this podcast I hope like what we're gonna talk and what you've been talking, it has been inspiring me a lot, and I hope somebody curious about something and maybe a little change here and there can find something or inspiration.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's have a inspirational talk, whoever those are looking for that. So
yeah, I feel like
here we come.
Yeah, I feel like people find inspiration from all these conversations.
No doubt.
Because everybody's story is different.
For sure. Everyone's
but we're all connected somehow.
And also a lot of information and good vibes, what I've learned. And I love this podcast, so it's insane to be here. And actually, I have to, I am here. I have to hurt myself to understand that.
Did you just pinch yourself?
Yes. Because if I close my eyes, I think I'm somewhere else, just like listening you guys.
Wow.
Like, and now I'm seeing you live.
And now it's you, and now you're here.
And let me tell you, for the listeners, which was most interesting for me right now to be here these first seconds, you guys look each other to the eyes when you speak, which is like really cool. It's a really cool connection, so it's very real. For listeners, of course, because I'm a Helsinki vampire, I'm wearing sunglasses.
It's too bright in here for him.
Yes,
yeah,
I feel more comfortable wearing sunglasses.
You do you, man. You do you.
Yes, sir.
Does it make? Is it like it's like a not a safety thing for you, kind of having glasses on? Kind
no,
of
I can. I'm probably so hyper energetic, so I can focus more on what I say.
Okay, I can understand that.
Well, yeah,
we
try.
Hyperactive person next to me.
Hi.
Do you guys drink coffee?
I do.
Can you handle?
I can handle it.
He must really listen to the podcast because he knows that.
Yeah, I tried to experience that like with I never drank coffee, and I've been trying after I turned 50, like have a little bit experiences with coffee, and like I had today because I'm on vacation. But if I would go on stage, I wouldn't drink on that day coffee because it's. I don't know. It makes me like I don't know. It's so strong.
Same for me.
So you're very sensitive to coffee.
Yeah,
in Finland. It's not a big commodity, is it? Coffee.
Coffee. Everybody drinks coffee since a kid, but I was never given coffee. So I don't. So I'm like freaking out.
Is it a coffee culture there?
Yes, there is, but it's a very different. It's not like it's not that sophisticated that elsewhere.
Okay. Definitely not sophisticated here. It's become sophisticated in the United States.
But for there, it's like just part of growing up, just having coffee in the house.
I think
it's not like a cool spot. Let's go to the cool coffee shop.
I mean, it's not like here was like Folgers and Sanka. Yeah, it was like there was no culture.
But there is coffee culture everywhere now. Like every pop up.
Now there is,
yeah.
I mean, there were people that were just. I had people I worked with, and they were just. Like back in the day, they would be like, I'm going to try one of these cappuccinos. And I was just like, a what? And they're like, a cappuccino is delicious. I went out and had one. And I was like, oh, my God.
I'm the same way with coffee. Like I have a love-hate relationship for it.
Yeah.
It does make me really crazy and jittery.
Exactly.
And gives me anxiety.
And you're already hyped up.
Yeah. And so I drink this Amaz, which is it's like 80 milligrams of caffeine. It's like totally natural.
Cool.
It's got mushrooms in it. It's just healthy from the Amazon. So yeah, this is what I drink now. I switched from coffee to this.
My friend. Yeah,
cool.
It's definitely mellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can have a coffee, but if I have like 2 cups, like it happens that I sort of like get depressed.
Yeah.
In the after, like in the
you crash.
Yes, all of a sudden it's like I'm like. It was a great day, but why I'm so sad?
It's super powerful.
And then it's like,
I had a
coffee. And it has nothing to do what's going on, but I sort of get the coffee sadness.
Absolutely.
Maybe that would be a
real
song
it's
for Lana Del Rey, Coffee Sadness.
No, it's
summertime coffee
sadness. It's extremely powerful.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's why this guy, Dr. Andy Huberman, he says don't drink coffee for the first 90 minutes when you wake up because that'll help with your crashing during the day.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So that's like a thing. That's like a real thing.
No, I believe it.
So nevertheless, sunglasses help with the too
Plus
much coffee as well.
You look great.
It's very.
So what are you doing out here now? What are you doing?
We just toured a month ago. Tiny tour here in the States, and
69 Eyes.
Yes, and we played at the Sick New World Festival, which was like mind blowing.
That was an incredible lineup.
Yes, so cool.
Did you get to meet any of those like icons that you?
Yeah,
that
sure. And there was like 80,000 people there. It was sold
Wow.
out like in a very, like I think like 1 hour or something when the tickets came out. So it was like really cool for the 69 Eyes to be there, and it was perfect to play. We had a short tour around that. So what I'm here now, it's just like I have some unfinished business. Which I didn't have time to do then. For instance, this podcast. So I just thought to we have the 69 Eyes is playing all through the summer till September everywhere in Europe and in Finland, and this was the only weekend that was free for me. So obviously I booked flights to LA. Where else? And it's a Midsummer Night's Eve, like which we celebrate, like Midsommar.
Yes.
Midsummer.
Like, yeah,
it just
exactly.
happened.
You know the movie, man.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Crazy.
Terrifying.
Yeah, so we celebrate that in Scandinavia. So I thought it would be interesting to be in Hollywood and
Okay,
around
that's a
this
full
area.
Scandinavia. Okay, right. I was
Yeah.
thinking that was only in like Norway.
Well, it's Finland, which we have like Russia there as a neighbor.
Yeah, of course.
And then Sweden, Norway,
I just thought
and
that
Denmark.
it was only being celebrated in Norway, like because
No, sun never goes down there. Like
I mean, just in general, it's all Scandinavia, so everyone.
it's or let's say it's Nordic countries.
Yeah, okay.
So like
So
we
cool.
celebrate that, and sun never goes down. And there used to be like a lot of rock festivals,
Mm-hmm.
especially that weekend. Now it's just a couple of them with some pop acts.
Mm-hmm.
So the 69 Eyes was free to do whatever we want. So I thought to come back and do this podcast, which I
Thank
didn't
you,
have
man.
time to do last time.
Yeah, and so the Vegas festival looked incredible. The lineup was surreal. It must have been surreal being there.
Yeah, and there's like to be in a rock band at this age, I'm 54. The 69 Eyes has been playing 30. Hold on, what year is it? 34 years by now. So we started we're an 80s band, original 80s band. So and it's the same people, same lineup, same guys.
Incredible.
Oh, wow.
Man.
So like for us to it was when we started the dream was like my idea was like okay we're gonna be so cool band like we're accepted everywhere, and of course we were like I was telling the guys I used to hang out in the late 80s in New York as a rock tourist, and I saw
rock tourist.
Yes, I saw a few bands there, and I was like okay now I know I have the know. And then when the 69 Eyes started, we were always sort of like thinking like I was thinking that our roots are like half in New York rock and roll scene and half in Helsinki rock and roll scene, and we're playing everywhere. But it took 10 years that to become like a reality, less than 10 years, but becoming an international act through international record deal on Roadrunner Records.
Oh, yeah.
So
Awesome.
like. So being here now, it's still as thrilling and as at this age, and there's more values to being a rock because it was the coolest thing ever, like in the 80s to have a band.
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
coolest thing
absolutely.
ever. I don't know what's cool thing anymore, but then it was like the coolest ever to tell the other people around you like, hey, I'm in a band, especially female, people who came into the same bars or something. So it's still we still believe it's cool, and the coolest thing for us is come to play in the US because our main inspiration comes from here. So going back to the Sick New World with that lineup, so now we rehearsed in LA at the Mates, the legendary like a rehearsal place.
Yeah, it's in that spot.
Which later on I found out it's a pilgrimage place for Guns N' Roses fans because that's where they started.
Wow.
So we're rehearsing there. It's a really cool place. All of a sudden, like 4 black cars come out of nowhere, and these guys rise up from the cars and go to the very next room, and that was System of a Down.
Okay.
Which haven't played for some maybe a decade or something like that, and I could see that they had their techs there and everybody was hugging like they haven't seen each other for a long time, and it's next to our room.
It's awesome.
And then and when we went quiet and started to listen, and there was like this classic System of Down music coming out from that room, which sounded like they put the record on.
Wow.
And all of them sing. So it's the vocals were also like so that was like, as thrilling as I'm telling you now. I was
cool.
like, wow, we're in the States, we're rehearsing in LA. System and Down is playing in the next room to us. So
It's
you
a
know,
real LA
like,
moment.
it's like a rock and roll
absolutely.
dream every now and then coming true, and that's what it's about to be in the rock and roll band these days.
Yeah. Shout out to Shavo, our dude.
Yeah,
We saw him the other day. We all go to the LA soccer games together. He's a big
Huge
part of
supporter.
LAFC. He's a big supporter. Yeah. He's a nice guy, man.
So
There-
that
there-
was fantastic, and you know,
Yeah.
just to be here and getting also inspired.
Getting
And
creative.
creative, inspired, get the vibes, and then you know,
there's
like
that vibe that exists.
Yes.
Definitely here in LA. That
Yeah.
I think it. I used to come here once a while before COVID to get the vibe and party as well. but you know, like after returning after COVID, I think the vibe is coming back. I mean, it was so vibey before COVID. I was
Totally.
busy. All the hotels fully booked. Everybody's going there and there
that's right.
with a social media like apps, screaming at them. And now it slowed down and it is what it is. But I think the vibe is coming back, and as coming here this time, like less than a week ago, at the airport, the immigration line was longer than ever for a few years.
Wow.
So that tells that tourism is coming back, and you know, like I think everything else is coming back here as well.
Yeah, I think people really missed music and live concerts and that human connection. I feel like
And
that
traveling.
was the
Yes.
past couple
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we did a European tour. We had the 69 had an album, Death of Darkness, out like in May. So we did a European tour just before the album came out, and then we came to the States. So during the European tour, I started to do the thing because that I as a singer, I jumped to the audience during one of the last songs just to dance and you know, like sing with the whole audience.
Yeah.
Like sort of like a
very brave.
yeah, sort of
because-
yeah, exactly. Sort of like a exorcisting. Is that the right
Exorcism.
word? Getting the COVID and all the
Yeah.
fear away.
Ah, right,
You know,
yes.
Push through.
yeah, exactly. Jump there, no matter what, and it was happiness. Everybody like, all right, and jumping around me, and that was something which I did in the early '90s when the band started. It was something you had to stand out way or another. So I was a wild caveman singer. Going to the audience, standing on the club table, singing shirtless, you know, like what I saw.
back
You
in
know,
the day,
yeah, exactly, like Steve Peters, Iggy
Yeah,
Pop,
yeah.
even Gigi Allen actually.
Right.
So you know, those were my blueprints. So I did that back then. Now years later, I was like, okay, I saw this fresh new band, Palais Royal.
Okay.
Which is really, who are like from here as well. And their singer, I saw there like this springtime, and the singer went to the audience, young audience, fresh young audience, and sang with the whole audience and you know, was among the audience. So I was like, hey, hold on. I used to do that when I was like in my 20s.
Yeah.
So why not? I started to do it again. And
Bring it
that is,
back.
bring back the vibe, bring back the positiveness of the live shows. And actually, like as there been a break for live shows for us all, which is now very past, kind
Yes.
of already. But you know, like that is healthy to go to see live music.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, like
good
for
for your
us all,
mental.
like
Yeah,
not
of
only
course.
not for us singers and performers,
no, but
but
for-
also like
right,
just
as a
to
fan.
just to get the vibe and get
It's
excited.
therapy for people. It's therapeutic.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, and get the vibe when it's exciting. Just the intro takes come in, and you are excited, like holy shit, I'm going to see the Cure or something
Yes.
like that. You know. So,
I love that.
Absolutely.
I think that's the one
It
thing
never
that
gets old.
Yeah.
it never gets old. And I feel like,
Yeah.
not that I didn't appreciate it for the past couple of years, but playing again now, it just feels so different.
For sure.
It feels almost magical that you're out there playing and
It's almost
connecting
like a
with people.
restart in a way, you know.
We all
Yeah.
get a reboot. Yeah, all of
Yeah,
us.
Yeah.
So now I feel like there's so many shows. Like every night in right now, there's every show is every night. It's like so many bands touring right now. It's so crazy that like everything, the prices have gone up in Europe, like
Yeah.
tour buses and gas and
Yes.
just flights and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like those are the companies just trying to make their money back from losing it. Maybe
They
I don't
are
know.
trying to make their money back off the backs of artists, you know,
Yeah.
which has
Mm.
always been the case of like, oh, let's take the money out of the artist, which is completely ridiculous considering the artist is the one that's suffering for most of the time.
But it's always been like that with the music business.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah,
The last ones to make the money.
right.
But
But
the ones-
that's also like why I like show business, music business, because it's so harsh, and I like it
Very
because
real.
it is toughest. There's no business like show business, and I enjoy that a lot because you're challenging yourself. You have to be very disciplined. No matter how you feel, you have to entertain those people on stage, and you have to overcome whatever is in your mind
Yeah, a lot of
or
times
even
it's-
stomach or something or
Right.
and all these difficulties. I think a lot of people. Well, now I like reveal it, but I'm like as being in a band. Every time I go to see some other band, I just wonder when the intro tape is on. I wonder if they are still in the toilet right now. You know what I'm saying?
Because I am.
Yeah, I'm like you here. You go to see Metallica, and you're like, wow, there's this song comes in, and you're wondering like which one is the latest there, and then come out, it's an intro tape going on.
So
because
true.
that's how it is when. Like at least some bands that it's
It is so true.
Yeah, it's.
I'm going to the
interesting.
bath. I always have to go. I have to take a shit before I go. I always get nervous stomach every time. I have to go to the
could see
bathroom.
you.
And the intro's going, and I'm in the bath, and they're waiting for me.
Right.
Because I'm in the bath. That's so true.
Or if we go too early behind the stage or close to the stage, and it's like, okay, wait 2 more minutes. The 69 Eyes, were 5 of us. All the members start one by one running back towards.
So true, dude. Well, yeah, being there too early and like, come on, let's just go out there right now. But
Yeah,
no, you know what I mean?
It's like, no, he left to the toilet. Wait.
Right.
Do you ever, if it says you have to play at 9:20 and the band ends early, do you ever go on stage earlier than the set time?
Yeah. I mean,
Well, you keep it
It
by
depends.
you keep it because it's a set time.
yeah.
Especially in the
It depends on what the promoter or whoever is there.
because I'm always
is
like
thinking.
the kids probably know what time we're playing. Maybe they're not here yet. So if I
Yeah,
go on 5
exactly.
minutes early,
Oh,
maybe
yeah,
one.
that's true. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I
Yeah,
get crazy about that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like to play at the set time. Exactly.
Yeah.
People are expecting that.
So where does the name 69 Eyes come from?
Why 69 Eyes?
Yeah, thank you for the great question, and I have the answer, which is like most of the bands have this answer, similar kind of answer. It's just no logical explanation. It just sounded good,
Okay.
and it's a temporary name.
Right.
We had the band together like a month or something, and then there was opportunity to play a surprise show at some night party, and we needed a name for a flyer. And I've seen, and I had 69 Eyes was somewhere, and I thought that let's use this temporarily. Yeah, and I'm
Gotcha.
also like a temporary singer. I knew these guys who play rock, and I was there until they find a singer. So it's just temporary name, temporary singer.
Interesting.
But it's just
You
like
came up with it.
yeah, and yes, to put in the flyer, but
Right.
it has the elements of like if you think the late '80s, especially, it has the elements of like sci-fi, horror, sleaze, and also like symbols of 6 and 9 and I. They are like eternal symbols from since Mayans, Egyptians, and then but together. I mean, I was if I would think it like kind of like remember the movie The Blob?
Yeah.
So similar kind of sci-fi movie that there comes the monster with 69 eyes, and like with the strange flying saucer, like 50s
Yeah.
easy comics rock and roll thing. But on the other hand, it every time people ask about the sexual connotation of it, and so it's cool. Why not?
I
So
think it's a great name.
and
too.
it's also like from the Cramps Human Fly. There's 96 Tears and 96 Eyes. Hold on,
Ooh.
was it 96? Yeah, and so on. So
Yeah.
it has. I can explain it many ways, but it's like the Rolling Stones, Sisters of Mercy. I've read these interviews. They always tell that there's actually no meaning of the name. It's a temporary name. So.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think a lot of bands that do that have to come up with a name to put on a flyer for their first shows.
Yeah,
Make
quickly.
something up, then it
Yeah.
just
Right.
sticks
Yeah.
and it works.
Yeah. that was really well thought out, though. I mean, all those references that you gave totally make
Yeah, well,
sense.
that was because I was, and then still I am, and I want to stick to them. I'm influenced by, like, I'm a comics nerd.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love
Like I
comics.
was, like I loved Marvel comics and it's horror movies, B movies, all that stuff, and then of course the Cramps introduced me all that culture back then.
Yeah.
Of course, the Misfits, everything which and
Yes.
you know there was this B movie culture was very strong in the 80s, like
Sure.
weird movies magazine and all this and psychotronic movies and all this, and of course then one of my favorite like still today directors is Russ Meyer,
Yeah.
and very simple, but he's not talked that much about these days. But on the other hand, here's a listening tip. Listen to the title song for the movie Faster Pussycat Kill Kill Kill, because that song, the lyrics for that song are very today, and then they are I'm also these days I'm very interested in feminism, so that song has a lot of very modern elements. Also, not going much further to it, but Russ Meyer movies, the main thing, you have some idea of them, but what if we start to study them a little bit more clear? Maybe there's actually some values which have not been discovered in the way that they might discover them today. You know, like if you know what I'm trying to avoid certain terms, but you know, like one of my favorite just movies is Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, which is the best rock and roll movie in my books, and so I was fanboy of that stuff, and then of course science fiction. So when it came with the 69 Eyes, we were into the names that I just mentioned: Dead Boys, Iggy and the Stooges, New York Dolls. Then from our country came the band Hanoi Rocks, which combined all that stuff together. So they were big influence for us. And then I wanted something different there. So I wanted there to be horror elements and vampire stuff, because you know those days also like the Anne Rice had her books out, and there was basically no vampire movies back then. Like in the vampire movies were made in the 60s and 70s. Then there was something very quiet period. Then came out like Fright Night, Lost Boys, you know, and that was the time when we started our band, and the rock and roll vampires were pretty much like we were waiting that something will happen. Then came Inter with the vampires.
Yeah, one of your videos is Lost Boys kind of theme.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, so I put that horror element to our glammy, snotty, garagey rock, and thought that this is a cool idea with the weird name, and it's still the same idea there.
Were you singing in a band before 69 Eyes?
No.
This is your first band?
Yeah, and then I just, and all the other guys had basically no, like they didn't have a musical background. So the thing of our band is there's no virtuoso, if that's a right word. Like everybody's very average.
Everyone was self-taught.
Kind of kind of bad musicians, bad singer.
Same.
So but then we can write catchy songs
together.
Yes, and then where we managed to make a few songs that people know about us. And if I go to, well, I mean, that sounds probably funny for you guys, but it's I think it's cool if I go to Rainbow Bar and Cradle on Sunset Strip and they play the 69 Eyes among Mötley Crüe and Guns N' Roses and Rats there. So I got a vibe that I made it.
Yeah, that's
you
huge.
know, yes, in a way. So that we're very average. And then there's no guitar or drum solos in our shows and stuff like that. We wanted to be like the bands that we were idolizing. Also, of course, I forgot to mention Ramones.
Of course.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So that was a you know, like how we started, and actually it's still today how it is. The main change is like first 10 years I didn't know what to do, so I was just like experiencing with my voice, and it's pretty high. Like my speaking voice is like this. When I sing, it goes down, deep down. So I was singing from this how I speak right now. But then I started to experience when I got actually finally some technology at home, which is just like 4-track recorders. Like, what if I sing low? And all of a sudden, that's a joke. And then all of a sudden, it's like, wow, this sounds. And then at the same time, of course, the Gothic rock was always there as influential. Like, and in general, singers, Elvis is my favorite.
Yeah, you can tell.
Artist from the beginning of ever. I discovered him. I saw his funeral on TV, and I asked from Mom what's going on, and Mom said that's a American rock star. And there I started to discover rock and roll. So Elvis, Jim Morrison, Iggy, Bowie.
Steele?
Yes, I was just about to. Let's go. He's not there yet. Then Glenn Danzig, and then all of a sudden 90s brought Pete Steele. So I was like, okay, let's try. If I can get this low voice when I'm singing. Right. So all of a sudden we did some like humor demos. I'm singing low, and it sounded good. And all of a sudden we recorded that stuff, and then we got the Roadrunner deal. After a couple of records and before, and then we got this.
Who was
album.
the A&R person?
We were in a European Roadrunner.
Oh, okay.
Back then in Germany.
So who was the?
Can't remember his name, unfortunately, but it's the same. We ran into the same guys.
Might have been Hank.
Yes, sure.
He was an asshole. I'm sorry, but I know who you're talking about. He was there for quite some time, but he was quintessential for.
Can you believe that I actually did couple of like radio jingles like, "Hi, this is Peter Steele. Check out the new 69 Eyes album," and stuff like that.
You just totally weren't Peter Steele, and you did it.
Yeah, I did. They asked me to do that back then, but I mean, I met those guys, and all good. But it was just like
that's incredible.
That was, but like the thing, like the beginning of rock and roll was like Elvis joking around and with "That's All Right, Mama," and then Sam Phillips is like, hold it, what is that? And no, we're just joking around. So it's sort of like similar start for the 69 Eyes after a decade. Like we were joking around, and singing low, and all of a sudden everybody's, hey, that's cool. And then the music is in the radio back in Finland, and all of a sudden we're on German charts. We've sold gold and eventually platinum and all that. Like it happened pretty fast, but it's also like all you guys remember that just before emo came up, there was like this gothic wave going through the world. Europe mostly likely in Germany, and then here came up emo and that stuff. So and then we came here to the States as well, like 2005, and we fit in the picture of like you guys, club life with whatever, everything like AFI and My Chemical Romance and all these things happening. And all of a sudden, like the 69 Eyes, the band from the late 80s, glammy band, all of a sudden we're among like happening scene here.
So it's like timing. It has a lot to do with sometimes success in the music world. A lot of people don't realize it's a combination of things.
And doing things for the real reasons, like honest reasons, like just rock and roll lovers.
Yeah, it's a combination.
There's no guy who says like, hey, do this and that, or present you to the right people. That never actually happened.
Right.
We just happened to be not like I just explained, the thing that we rehearsed in a rehearsal place, and we're stoked that the System of Down guys just happened to be in the next room. So it's still the same like excitement of being in a band, like, which was very cool late 80s, like in the Helsinki scene in the nights to go to the club. I didn't have a guitar case, but our guitarist had it, and the girls were like, whoa, there's a guitarist with black hair, backcomb hair coming into the club. So it's the same kind of vibe, which I think we preserve in that way. Like it was kind of like a dream of dreamers forever, living sometimes living the dream, but still dreaming and still, like thinking that there's something's bigger waiting for us somewhere,
Yeah, and still believing, still having fun, still being excited about it.
Yes, and not like
keeps you young.
yeah, and also like not like stuck into the same routines or patterns. That's what I'm always been a little bit against. And sometimes when we had like back 10 years ago, like real professional managers, they got like tired of me being always like trying to, can we go to the festival one day earlier because this band is playing and I want to see them or something. And I was said like, no, that's not professional. You go there and van picks you up and takes you away. You don't stay there. And obviously we were also partying, which was what. I'm here now, so but it was like it's just there's something
because you're still a fan too.
Yeah,
and you want to see the
bands.
fan.
Yeah.
I'm doing the same thing. We're playing the third day of Riot Fest. I want to go the first day to see Foo Fighters and Turnstile because I just want to go watch the bands all weekend. I'm trying to get in there for the weekend because I love watching music.
Absolutely,
of course.
What was like for growing up? You like what was your exposure to this type of music? Like what kind of music were you into as a kid?
So since I'm from Finland and our country is very Americanized, and that's something what I. In particular, right now, want to explain. So, because like we are between East and West, like and especially those days we're talking about
being on the border. Of
yes,
Russia.
yes. Well, we're talking about like the late '60s, early '70s. So we had the freedom to look either way we wanted. You can like look to East or West. So, but I was looking to the West, and we had all your TV series, and Mickey Mouse was like my first toys were Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. Start from that, and I still have them. Like when I was like 1 year old or something. So but didn't now I can analyze it this way that so we had your TV shows, majority of them, and they are not overdubbed. So we learn the phrases, we learn the customs, and that was my favorite. And then when I discovered rock and roll, before that I discovered comics, and then I became a Marvel comics nerd, and I ordered like old used Marvel comics from America. Like I was handling out the leaflets as a job after school to get money to order back issues of like X-Men or Fantastic Four.
Sick.
Well, Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man is the coolest.
It's probably the most classic.
Yeah. And I just actually watched the Stan Lee documentary from Disney's Channel. That was actually really cool. Once again, like open up that world, which I sometimes I forget it and put it away, but I still have my I was later on subscriber of those magazines from the States. So I have like near mind if somebody's interested in condition like Frank Miller's Daredevil. I got the issues when they came out. John Byrne, Fantastic Four, X-Men. I was a subscriber of those, another golden era of Marvel, like early 80s. So
X-Men, it was massive.
And what I got from there was also like there was advertisements of the movies like Return of the Jedi is coming out. And the movies came out a little bit later in Europe and especially in Finland. But I was sort of like absorbed the culture, which is between the comic stories. So I was like interested in that and fascinated with that. I never came to the States until I was 19, but I was like fan of rock and roll, comics, movies, all this culture. And I was just thinking like you become like your talent will show when you do these 10,000 repetitions, So I think in that sense my knowledge of American pop culture is I did that 10,000 repetitions like as a kid, absorbing and religiously just like being so into that stuff. And so that's what I've been using with the 69 Eyes and whatever I've been doing, like that knowledge and that love for that the American culture and that sides of your countries, whatever it represents, like naivistically, like all the best parts and of course being aware so just being a fanboy of America. Let's start with that, and then put that to the rock. Then recycling rock and roll back in a way to the States. That was, we were told when we played here first time 2005. There was people with gray hair, which are everywhere these days among my friends. But then in the audience, they said like, "Oh, we saw Led Zeppelin, and we came to see because you're a real rock band. Like we play out of tune, and we have cables to guitars, and we have amplifiers. The guys think that's important, like where like that there's amplifier on stage, but that nobody starts a band anymore. Probably when you start a band now, you probably buy lights first.
Probably.
Yeah. But we're these guys in our band, they think that's important. There's like the audience will pay to see Marshalls on stage and Ampex and something like that. So and so what I learned from rock and roll, from the 50s rock and roll and all the history of rock and roll, I recycled with the 69 Eyes and brought it back with a bunch of pop culture that I've learned over the years. The Marvel ethics, horror, legacy, and all that stuff. And so that was there, and then I was interested in that. And of course, I was a nerd. I was at home. Okay. My hobbies when I was at first or second grade was like my mother bought me a piano when I was 8, and then I was taking writing lessons. So was that really popular among other age guys? So
I can relate. Yeah.
So the other guys were playing football or something like that, and I'm going to writing lessons.
But you're into it.
Well, now I'm really proud of that. Like, God bless my ma up heavens, that was fantastic. And, I still today don't have a driving license. I tell you later why. But I can ride a horse across the town, to Sunset Strip if you have horse here. I can borrow. Can you borrow that? So I go to the Rainbow. And
I'd love to see you on a horse.
Yeah,
Sheriff, you remember Sheriff McCloud?
But was
the TV series.
Oh, maybe.
Dennis Weaver.
Oh yeah, I know that. Yeah.
He was riding horse like through New York, like in the beginning of the TV series. Nevertheless, so those were my hobbies. So that was kind of like, and piano. I never really learned that because I wasn't patient enough. And I saw. Our piano was in the living room, and there was a big window, and I saw my other guys from neighbor houses playing football, and I was supposed to rehearse, but they were running happily with a football. So do you know? Then you know what happened. I was there with them.
Yeah.
But I still have the piano. It's still with me, and I learned the basics of notes and all that.
That's
so of
great.
course that has to be there to make rock and roll in the end.
Of course, yeah.
So
it helps.
But that was and then later on I was my mother. She was my single parent, so she was very artistic, and she was good at everything in art. She taught me like respect arts and all that. So then I was also like
That's going to be my next question.
Yeah, so I was drawing
out in school, or is that coming from home?
Home, and then I was good at in drawing. So I was at some point when I was a teenager, I started to draw comics, and that's how in the mid 80s you connected like-minded people through fanzines.
Yes.
Yeah, the people were drawing. There was comic fanzines, but these people were also punk rockers and goths, early goths. So you were all of a sudden in touch with a little bit older guys, and who were putting out comic magazines. And I started to draw rock and roll comics, black and white ones, and they were about like nightlife in Helsinki, how the people, the mid 80s looking crowd in the rock clubs, golf clubs. I was too young to go there, but I've seen pictures in magazines how people looked like. Wow. And that was something that I imagined. And there was just, like vampires, goth rockers, people in nightclubs, and always it was always night, so it took really long time to draw black and with real pens.
Yeah.
And so that was something. So I get these. I was connected. Networks started through that, and of course with that, like you had like these people as your pen pals, and you get feedback from your comics, and then probably some recommendations. Check out Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds' new EP, Mutiny. It's out. It's really cool.
That's
and
awesome.
then you went to the record stores to find these. Like I discovered the Cramps, Gun Club. All these kind of bands, and they were in the same place, which was just called punk. And there was also like Sisters of Mercy, and there's no it was just punk. And all these records were there. And then obviously the 80s started to happen, and I was a teenager at some point, and there it all started slowly happen. But I was also like, because of that, I was freaking my school class. I had whatever hair. I have psychobilly hair at some point. I love the Meteors. I saw them, and I had a shaped hair. The Meteors.
Oh, right.
Which is
I
like
thought you said the Mentors. I was like, wow.
Oh, I knew about them, but they never properly toured in Europe.
It was crazy.
But the Meteors were singing about like my daddy was a vampire and voodoo rhythm and this same taking and about Michael Myers and so there it was, and I was excited about this. And of course, like as a teenager, you have to have very individual music taste. So I saw the album of Alien Sex Fiend back then, and I started to write them. There was an address and they sent me their so
cool.
So my soundtrack was actually, I was buying. They sold live recordings of their shows as C-tapes. So I was listening that stuff. The rest of the school, my classmates were listening to New Queen or AC/DC, and I was listening like Alien Sex Fiend live shows on C-tape.
Wow,
but you have to
really
be.
obscure.
You always want to be very individual at that age.
I would think at that age, it's depending on the person, because some people want to fit in.
Yeah,
a lot of times,
totally.
so they're going to listen to what everybody else
I
is
know.
listening to. But I can relate to where you're coming from. Definitely nerd, big fan of comics. The stories of these characters was bigger than life. And then in a weird way, like I don't understand why I was drawn to like this scene of like the Cramps, like had such a massive influence in my taste. It was such an element of like real rock and roll. And this freedom
and danger
and danger and just
and
something I didn't know about.
mystery.
And I love the freedom of the voice and the people surrounding it. Like it just seemed like they were completely themselves and not ashamed of it. And I love the soulfulness. There's a lot of soulful rhythms going on, and especially the vocals. I love the vocal.
And it was like original rock and roll, like it was in the 50s. So like wild, dangerous.
But it was in the 80s, like happening. I was like, what is going on?
And think of how Brian Gregory looked like.
Oh yeah,
like it's still today. I mean, how come he came
freakish
up
to me,
with
and
this
I loved it.
idea? And but later on, I realized some of those bands from CBGB's scene. Namely like Blondie, they were actually in their 30s. Same with Suicide, they were probably at their 40s because they lied their age. And same with the Cramps, they were in their 30s. And I'm like a 16 and looking at their picture, and I went to see them in England, like Stay Sick tour. Which was like 89 or something.
Wow.
And I saw them in a Virgin Megastore. They had a signing session, and they came there with a tight, like a wet look clothes and sunglasses and black perfect hair, and they looked like I don't know, out of this world. Now I think like, oh wow, they were actually in their 40s, But I mean, for me, it's
funny,
like,
right?
but you never think you didn't think about that. They were just the coolest looking people in the world,
pretty cool.
and and so that was one of the secrets of the CBGB scene. If we still look at the pictures, I wonder how come they had all this. They were perfect from the start, but they actually had some background done and homework.
Yeah.
You know, it was not just like now we have like, for instance, Billie Eilish or like a Lil Peep who just comes out of nowhere and they are like actually like Buddy Holly was ready immediately. He was perfect like when he came at the age of 18, and same with Billie Eilish or rest in peace Lil Peep. They came very early age and they were ready. They had something, but like later on, like sort of like at least I'm comforting myself, like no matter like latter age, like well, I come up with something new soon, you know, or somebody looks at me like, wow, that guy's ready, and I'm like, yeah, I've been thank you, I've been trying to be ready, but I'm you know what I mean, you know.
Yeah. Do you have any brothers and sisters?
No, I'm a single guy, and that was a thing, and of course, like then listening home, collecting Marvel comics and drawing comics, being contact with these bohemian guys releasing comic book. Okay, of course, one of the most important things, not only Marvel, was of course when I discovered Robert Crumb and the underground. You know, all that. All of a sudden, it's like, hold on. Rip-Off Comics, Freak Brothers, San Francisco. Wow, this is the coolest ever, and all that stuff.
It changed everything for me in the
exactly,
whole comic game. I was like, I didn't even know this existed. And then like graphic novels,
and a little bit like hiding that stuff, like from my ma. You know, like I still wouldn't show like Zap comics to like. If somebody is not with the
it's
know,
like intense. It's like really these artists like putting out some of their perversions or like crazy
S. Clay
ideas
Wilson, Robert Crumb,
and playing with it and just like putting it out there and not being ashamed of it. You know, just kind of like these ideas that go through their head and just kind of like a diary. It seems like they're just spilling out their truth of like, I like this type of girls that are like not the classic beautiful girl. Like it's a nerdy guy. I like girl with the big butt. Or like a big nose. Like I'm not afraid to say that.
And this picture
and boots are very important.
Yes, and boots and shoes. Are like, oh, I like a girl with big boots and kind of taking charge. And like really out there.
Yeah, but they're once again they were older guys.
Yes,
and I wasn't supposed. I was probably in the audience. They thought that we'll be reading their stuff, but I learned everything from there as well. So and also psychedelic experiences, like I was. Just like wow, so you know, but it came in the same time as you know, discovering the Doors and all that. And, you know, it comes to the same time probably for everybody. And then all of a sudden you were a little bit older and knew about, at least you thought something, and you were more interested in. First, I was a rockabilly guy to Elvis, and then to the original rock and roll and rockabilly, and then came like Stray Cats, which was like fantastic, like modern rockabilly, and then the Cramps, and then came this like goth scene all of a sudden appeared, like
which was huge. I mean, it was
Alien, Sex Fiends, Sisters of Mercy,
Christian Death,
Specimen, all this stuff,
all the Skinny Puppy.
That was 90s,
that was more like 90s,
or late 80s.
Yeah.
But then that came up as well. But as speaking to Toby, which I can't wait to after this interview to see your Madonna tattoos.
Oh yeah, sure.
Of course. At the same time, there's the coolest pop music happening.
The coolest.
Culture Club.
Huge.
Madonna.
Bangers.
Dead or Alive. All this.
Yeah.
Well, basically everything's. Still, I'm super excited and super fan.
It's a good point that you have.
Yeah.
I mean, the pop scene was thriving.
Yeah.
Like anything that was coming out, it just seemed like so well written. So
Michael Jackson.
Everything.
Yeah, of course.
Every realm.
Like, so good.
Style. It was just like it was hard to miss. Like
and then once again the movies, all the 80s, all the 80s is
incredible.
It's we don't miss it, but we are glad that we experienced that.
Yes.
Everything from the styles of people to all the culture and everything. So that was happening and that was inspiring. So I think that's one of the reasons I'm still here. And strangely enough, actually, I for 2 years I've had a radio show in Helsinki, which is called 80s Rock Show, which is like I'm playing 3 hours it's a playlist, but still I have all the stories of like 80s music because I've been touring with the Scorpions in South America and things like this. So, but it's when we have the show, we say that, and I say that you don't have to change the channel. It's going to be safe. This music has been tested for 40 years.
That's true.
Keep this. Don't touch the dial. Just keep your hands on the wheel and enjoy.
Nice.
But that's how it is. I mean, that's what we probably want to bring back and want to keep alive. And what has been happening so much recently from the 80s is like the wipe of the music, wipe of the movies. Every movie has been recycled or TV series from there because it was like, think of like
Think about Stranger Things.
Nile of the Jewel or something like that. It's positive, good wipe movie that then then happened in the 90s and current times, and then there's what's going on, but that kind of positive wipe from there is something that it's gladly hear every time we want because
it's
from
really
that artifacts.
Definitely great writers at that time, and they were able to have that freedom to write about things and take that chance. I think in the 80s there was a lot of taking chances. I think once they realized that there's a big money behind it, a lot of those chances dropped out where people start writing or duplicating. You're like trying to revive something that made money then that was just authentic and very real, and then like, oh, let's redo this again because it's a safe way to try to make money and capitalize on something that already was capitalized on, but it happened in a natural way. It doesn't work necessarily all the times, like this revamping of certain things, but if you're able to take those elements from it and create something new, find that balance, then it can be very successful. You mentioned Stranger.
What is bring about the 80s vibe in that movie and all the soundtracks?
Absolutely. I mean, it was heavily influenced because it was people like our age that are working in that industry now.
Yeah.
I think that stuff is done for us, actually.
Right.
As we were with the 69 Eyes, with the 69 Eyes, as we were here like a month ago, we had a 1 day off and we went to Disneyland, whole band. And I was thinking, like, actually, Disneyland is for everybody, of course, and so on. But I mean, it's probably for us, for our age guys. We get excited to see. I met actually Mickey Mouse. It blew my mind. But I mean, we're excited of that stuff, seeing the parades and wow, there's there's Peter Pan, or something like that, and Captain Hook. Wow, but I don't. Yeah, and we're excited. I don't know how much
probably childhood
younger people these days are excited of meeting Mickey Mouse. It doesn't matter.
Sure.
Good point.
But that's a thing with why I mean. Doing this here, there's quite near here. There's a billboard of Indiana Jones, which comes out like in a week. Think about that. It's 2023, and then there's and he's there.
Yeah.
New movie coming out. Are we happy or are we unhappy? Or I don't know. I'm happy for being here and experiencing all this.
Yeah. I just never imagined. I mean, even when we talk about all this stuff, did you imagine that this was popular in Finland? A lot of these things were happening. I mean, for us, I think it's bizarre to think that it had such an impact, bigger than we could possibly imagine, because there was no internet at the time. So I would never imagine you would know it's on the other side of the world.
Love Boat. Happy Days,
showing
Happy
this
Days.
stuff.
Hill Street Blues.
I mean, this was oh my god.
Hill Street Blues, great.
I remember all the things.
Of course, Miami Vice is still I want to have some time to watch them again.
Taxi,
I never imagined
of course.
any of this stuff was there on the other side of the world, and people were
okay.
The impact
What would be the coolest ever if some of us or any artist which was doing that, think of being as a guest in the Muppet Show.
Oh yeah, that was
wow.
huge.
Still, I think, and all these things are they still. Yeah,
Right.
come on, man. Yeah, come on. Kermit says your name.
Yeah.
What?
And
Yeah, there won't be. There's nothing cooler than that. Maybe if you were guesting in Happy Days and played at the Al's bar.
I mean, that was weird.
But think of Muppet Show. I mean, but those things are heavily alive in social media. I mean, if I don't know, maybe of course we are living in our own bubbles, but no matter what I do, there's always somehow Love Boat beginnings coming with the with the whoever guessing
Well, it's
the.
such a crazy concept for a show.
Yeah.
When you think about it now, it's just like it's how could that ever have been popular?
And then they started to make like kind of like the 69 Eyes used that as well. We put our band picture there, like starring the 69 Eyes. I first saw
if you're
like
on Love Boat, then you're huge. Like,
yeah,
you're
I-
already like
yeah,
stardom.
yeah. I saw the Cramps picture there, you know, like. But I mean, yeah, exactly. Love Boat.
or Fantasy Island.
Yeah,
you know, if you're
yeah,
part of that.
yeah.
then
Of course,
you
all
made
that
it.
stuff, all that stuff. But you know, like being a guest in a Muppet show,
Yeah,
you would
that's
be
true.
cemented to the. You would have star, you know, on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
hanging out,
They didn't let him in.
hanging out, Animal.
Yeah,
Playing
yeah,
drums with
I mean,
Animal was
yeah,
sick.
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So was your mom strict growing up for you?
Yeah, of course, very strict.
Oh,
That's
really?
why I don't have tattoos.
Wow.
Yeah. So you know,
I was gonna
and
ask you
because
that.
I was listening to her.
Okay.
You know,
Good
she's,
kid.
Yeah.
she's not around, which is very. I'm still unhappy about it.
I'm
but
sure.
but you know, like really strict rules, and I'm glad about it, and I listen to that still some extent. Then, on the other hand, I was screwing my hair and looking kind of weird till in the end of school. But she made so I wanted to move away from home and go to we weren't living in the capital town Helsinki.
right.
Then I were living in the countryside, but I wanted to go to the capital Helsinki because everything was happening there.
Yeah.
Yes, there was still, you know, like Hanoi Rocks happened in the early 80s, but we had like goth clubs and like rock and roll scene, which was pretty much like they're still what they left, you know. And so I started to go there it was an hour trip by train. Started to go there to see shows, meet people, and see what's going on in the capital. And then I decided that I have to get to the university. That was a chance to get away from home and move to Helsinki.
School free there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the thing. Always we've been asked, like, and I've been asked, like, how come you are, because I have a master's degree and I'm going to university. How come? But it's free in our country. Also, like healthcare, these kind of things. So, you know, even poor kid like me could go to the university. So
Right.
that was then I turned 18 and I moved away from home, and I was at the university, but at the same time going like every night to see these bands and shows. And then the turning point was summer after moving away from home to Helsinki. I drew a comic and I got some fee from that, which was enough to get the flying ticket to New York.
That's incredible.
And then, you know, like I mentioned Hanoi Rocks, which is a band from Helsinki and owes a lot to New York Dolls, Rolling Stones, Aerosmith, but they were very different in the early 80s, and then they crashed and burned, and their impact on how we were dressing up in Finland was enormous. We backcombed our hair, we had cowboy boots on our tight jeans. Actually, look at how I look still today. so and we were, and the guys were using like eyeliner and, you know, like New York Dolls style. So we were looking like that in the mid 80s because of Hanoi Rocks, and of course there was some other things happening, you know, like the 80s in general.
Yeah.
With the hairstyle. So then all of a sudden, in the late 80s, I saw a British music magazine. I was following what was going on, and there was a picture of a band who was playing in London, and they looked exactly like Hanoi Rocks looked like 5 years ago still. And there was a couple of other bands from Hollywood at the same time in the same magazine, and they looked like how we looked 5 years earlier. So I was like, I thought that this kind of old-fashioned but interesting. And there was, of course, like Guns N' Roses, and then the other bands were like Faster Pussycat and LA Guns. And they looked like we used to look, and still to some extent looked in Helsinki. So I was wondering what's going on. And musically, they sounded more metal, but it was interesting and kind of music that was cool. And so I thought that I want to go to LA because like 1967 was Summer of Love in San Francisco. 1977 was punk rock happening in London. Somebody told me that, older guy. So it was 87. I was like, okay, every 10 years something happens, and now it's my time. I'm in my, I'm 19 and I want to go there where the action is.
Yeah.
So I decided to go to LA, but I didn't have enough money for flights and hotels, so I ended up to New York. And I was there a couple of weeks, and of course it was better to there was CBGBs, there was still Johnny Thunders, Didi Ramon walking around.
Yeah.
All that scene was there. Also, the clammy Guns N' Roses scene was happening there big time at these clubs, Limelight, the Cat Club.
Cat Club. I was gonna say
Yes,
Cat Club.
yeah. Scrap Bar, all
Scrap
that.
Bar, yeah.
So it was actually, but it was more street.
Yeah.
He was like at some extent more bubble gum.
Yeah.
With those bands that never names we don't still anymore remember, but so it was cooler to get there, and then all of a sudden I met all these people who are still my friends today, and I saw some bands, and I ever since at the teenager saw some rock bands. I saw him. One of the first bands I saw was Lords of the New Church with Steve Bader's.
Great bands.
Yeah.
Great
So
band.
I thought that I have the same know. I have the know with those guys on stage. I get it. So I don't know. I was like I understand what I understand that thing. Seeing them on stage. So, and then I came to New York and see those bands there, and I was like, I understand this thing. So then I was sort of like, maybe I should, meet some musicians. I don't have any experiences with being in the bands before. And then all of a sudden we had the 69 Eyes, and I was a temporary singer. I was just ready to make flyers for this band. I came up with the name. I was a comics artist, so
Right.
I was all for them. And here I am still,
Well, to go back real quick, are you a chemist or a scientist?
Yeah. Well, I
You're
graduated.
analytical chemistry.
Yeah, analytical. Yeah, I graduated, and then I went to university. It took me like a decade to get my papers out, because all of a sudden I had the band, and that took my time. But I have my papers out, and later on I upgraded. I have another master's degree for computerized like science as well, just because it's free, and I needed that because I have a backup plan. I have a day. It's called day job.
Yes.
And
I've heard
that's
about this.
yes. And I heard you guys, or I don't necessarily know if you too, but in here, in for instance in Hollywood, it's called mysterious source of income.
Yeah.
So I had because of this strong ma, So
That's
backup plan there. So so I'm scholared, and at the moment as we are speaking, because life is great, and I'm not done with anything yet. I'm just learning. I'm back at the university as a hobby, and I'm studying theology.
Wow.
Wow, man.
Which is mind blowing. Of everything what they like, it's so much about like then come this word intertextual reading, which means like, especially these days, there's a lot of like this also like they in theological like theological like studies, they have like all about these conspiracy theories and all that stuff. It's there. And also this intertextual reading is about like, if you read an article or something, there is so many levels. Your level of accepting and understanding it, also a level of the writer, and then there's some secret meanings that you get, but you don't exactly properly write down unless you like analyze it. And so that a lot of really interesting stuff that we need, and I want to understand about the present day time. So that if you want to know anything about present day and all about how media controls us, and and feeds information, theological, that's where you learn about that. So that's my other hobby. So I'm pretty nice guy. You can see that I'm reading Bible on the tour bus.
Yeah.
Do you have to wear like a white? You have to dress like a normal person.
No. It's science.
Yeah.
Theology is science. If you like to, you can go to the religious path as well. But it's science.
No, I'm saying at the university when you go there.
No.
That.
People are freaks and bohemians. There,
nice.
You know.
Always
been. You know, like all these years.
It's
I mean, but as a chemist, of course, if you go to laboratory, and think I just mentioned earlier, Amazing Spider-Man, Peter Parker, the guy. You know, that was my blueprint. Okay, I'm a nerd. Mm-hmm. I go to university, and in the nighttime I roam on the nightclub scene.
Interesting, man.
Yeah, a lot of the guys that were writing the comics were very introverted or nerds, and so they wrote these characters where they put a bit of their personality into the character, and that's what made the character so strong today. Why so many people in film and directors are using it, and these scripts are coming out, because the characters are so strong. They've been written for so many years, and they're believable and they're real. There's elements of a real person.
Life,
you know, it's not like. You know, Peter Parker is a fantastic character because he is the guy that's never really getting the girl, and if he does, they end up dying tragically in a very horrible way. And it's just like real life type things and situations, but it's surreal things that are happening around them. But it always drew me in, the fact that they were so just normal, you know, nerdy like kid. That was just like, fuck, like why isn't this going this way? And just dealing with these problems, and he's living with his aunt, you know, being brought up by one parent.
Yeah,
you know, and
so many similarities.
There's a lot of similarities.
Yeah, and also like going to university in the daytime, and then nighttime doing, you know, your neighborhood friendly Spidey, and then, you know, I was your neighborhood friendly goth rocker.
Yeah.
So, but also with Marvel, it was like they happened in the real town, you know, in New York City. So when I first went to New York, I was like, I know this, like, and
most of the writers are from New York.
Yeah, I was checking out like maybe Spider's up there, Spidey's there, or, you know, like it was, and also with the Marvel, it was like. They made you feel that it's a secret society. Only few people knew about the magazines and about the stories and stuff. They created that in a way, like there was few of you who, with the know again, like about Marvel and all these things that they have inside. So that was you were part of the special. Even though I was like reading. And ordering 60s issues, but that was like I got a feeling that I'm part of that secret, you know, group of people who are there, knowing it and reading Stan Lee's, you know, like letters to readers and stuff like that. That was I wrote to Stan Lee. He never replied.
Oh wow!
You know, but that was a way to communicate.
No,
you know, back then you sent a letter.
Yeah,
like, hey, Mr. Lee, can you actually sign something and send to me? And greetings to, you know, what's that? John Byrne.
John Byrne. Yeah.
Did you go to Kenya? Or
well, so
you got the Young Person's Award for the
the thing is like so then I was, you know, rock and roll and
doing good shit.
Yeah, and then at some point when I was a little bit older, I was asked to be part of the charity work, and then that was UNICEF, and then I was part of UNICEF, like being goodwill ambassador for, like in Finland. One of them, we have some 13 of them. I was one of them. I was young, still like our band was very successful back then, so I was kind of mainstream cool rock guy that was known from the magazines and radio airwaves. So they asked me to be a part of UNICEF back then, but it was and I had a chance to see how the charity work is done. For instance, like in Africa, in Kenya, a couple of times there was a drought then, and also like then there was like there was HIV/AIDS was one of my topics and things like this. But you have to remember that was already like 15 years ago. So the world has changed.
Yes.
After that. So that was something I thought. I was then in my 30s, so I thought that I can take some responsibility and show that I have something else in my mind than just vampire movies and partying after dark. Which I rather actually still today I rather speak about like Marvel comics and vampire movies and everything else except like the real life like we talked about like how educated I am or how I have this mysterious source of income possibly, I don't know, but mainly I rather talk that I wake up at like 6 p.m. when the sun goes down and the moon comes up,
I love that.
and the exactly
Like you do, huh? That's legit.
yeah, so
Wow.
I rather be more like the entertaining weird character.
Mysterious.
Yeah, like the Cramps. You never
Yeah.
still today we
I
don't know
still
anything
don't
of
know.
anything about. But like I told you about, we know bits and pieces, but we don't care. I mean, the picture of Brian Gregory that's there, and he was around. And have you seen actually? Still talking about the Cramps. Have you seen the? Because that topic is so great. So have you seen? Did you ever see the little film? Now it's available in the streaming services, but live at the Napalm Mental State, like a hospital.
No.
The Cramps playing in the mental hospital.
What?
Wow.
And it's a black and white, and they were
wanna see
booked
that.
there like during the first album.
Wow.
And Lux says like, "Oh, we were told you guys are crazy, but you look like okay to me." And then there's people like they play in the center of like where there's patients around, and they play
That's
the set.
cool.
And Brian Gregory has a cigarette in his mouth and all that white hair. You should see that. That's
Wow.
like
I see
that's
that.
inspiring.
Right.
That is inspiring.
That
Those
sounds
things
really
are,
cool.
and like for instance, Ramones playing in Rome somewhere out. You've seen that?
No. I
That,
never
that's
saw-
it, like in the late 70s on somewhere on the outdoor show in kind of like, what is this place? So those things are really inspiring
Yeah.
because those guys did something which was never done before, and it's very authentic, and there's it's not like it has nothing to do with business.
Yeah.
Right.
It's madness and
Yeah.
like something weird vibes going on.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of footage of like Ramones playing in South America.
Oh, that's
and
insane.
Oh
Brazil.
yeah.
It's
And the camera being inside a van when they try to leave.
Yeah. I mean, it's incredible footage and just really the mark of the times. It's really something so extraordinary. Like with that moment, they were just
When when going back to the future, I want something with the 69 Eyes or for the 69 Eyes while I'm still here.
Yeah.
Because that everybody was wearing the Ramones T-shirt when half of them were already gone, or maybe even
Great
most
point.
of them. And then like the Cramps. And I want to be with the Goo Goo Mock in the Wednesday Netflix series. So I want to be around because that will eventually I believe that somebody finds place for the 69 Eyes in this universe to be used like in the way that hasn't been done before. So I want to be around to see that because these idols of mine hadn't have a chance to experience that latter certain
that's the way
success.
for a lot of artists.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if you look throughout history, so many
Sure.
artists like after they're dead, it's like, oh man.
But I mean, the Ramones T-shirt
celebrated.
has nothing to do with that they sort of weren't around anymore. It was just all of a sudden it just became an item. I think with
true.
the
Iconic.
Well, just everywhere,
Market.
every store, everything
Yeah.
became like
Yeah.
fashion.
Everywhere.
Yeah,
I mean, like
yeah.
the Crimson Glow Skull. From
well,
I
those
know.
guys are still around.
they're still
gladly.
around, but it's
and
just
just
true.
played actually last weekend.
in
Yes,
Arizona.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then they deliver, and I'm very happy for them. And
Same.
I'm huge fan of each guy in that band. And I
never imagined it would be so like Madison Square Garden.
oh yeah, I was there.
You were?
Wow.
Yeah, I was there.
Wow.
And I saw them at the Forum here as well.
I was
But
at that one.
Madison Square Garden. It was also like
It's so
I don't.
real.
Yeah, it is. But that was beautiful,
Right.
and it was a beautiful show with Rancid, The Damned.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah,
And the Crimson Ghost was on the top of Madison Square Garden,
That's
like the Batman logo.
Yeah, yeah.
and
So
that
cool.
that is beautiful. That's how it should be.
Right.
That's
I
a
agree.
that
Yeah.
that's a like. There's a sentence that there's no justice in rock and roll, but that justice happened
Oh, yeah.
right then at the
Yeah.
Madison
Yeah.
Square Garden.
Like people getting their flowers while they're still alive.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, like
Yes.
that. Yeah,
I love
and that's
that.
what you want for your band and stuff you're doing, right?
Yeah, so that's why like this will be my last should have been my last words in this interview, but that's still we're in the beginning. But that's something what I'm still looking forward to, and I believe that there's something out there for that.
Somebody
reason.
tried to call me out on my. I was wearing a Cramp shirt, and they're like, "Do you even know one song by them?" I was like,
To
need
you?
Yeah, and I was like, "Yo, you really want to go there?" You know?
Online?
No, like I just met somebody like
What?
randomly somewhere, and I was like, "Dude, I'm at the wrong place, man."
Oh
It's
my
like,
goodness!
You better get out my face.
What was your inspiration for going vegan?
So I've been vegan now like 9 years.
Awesome.
And we came, like I said, to the States 2005
Yeah.
to tour and play, and then live the dream and be around here in Hollywood where,
Did you ever live here?
no,
Okay.
I'm just visiting
Okay.
for longer periods. And now we've been having straight flights from Helsinki to LA.
Wow, I
Like-
didn't know
like-
that existed.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, like few years. So it's, well, I would say only 11 hours. You know, you go to the plane, they deliver you a meal. You try to look, like in this case, I tried to finish John Wick, but I passed out, just tired. And then I wake up, and then there's a like light meal, and then we land. And then you
Nice.
see Hollywood sign from the, if you sit on the right side of the plane, you see Hollywood sign. And then it's 11 hours, and you're here. So it's kind of convenient because Finland is a big country, and
How it's coming up top.
we yeah, exactly. Occasionally we take train, and that one might take 8 hours to the northern part of Finland to play a show. So we always talk like, hey, we would be in New York or
That's
LA
true.
with the same
Right.
Good point.
same moment. So nevertheless, we came here, and Hollywood was really happening, and all this, like you were part of this great punk scene which was blooming, like swingers and all these guys hanging out. Like
Yeah.
we had a tour manager called Daniel, who was from Sweden, who was very connected with the punk scene in New York with
Yeah,
H2O.
Daniel. Yeah.
Swede.
Yes, and that's, think of that. Like he was there, and he taught. I mean,
He
and
was.
then he was straight edge, and he had like I was like actually, I think I was calling him hippie, and
You knew that they knew each other, right?
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And
I was
we-
like, oh my
and
God.
He connected me with him for the pod.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
and
Shout out to
I was
Daniel.
I was calling him hippie and kind of weirdo because he had a
He's a freak.
in our rider there was vegan cold cuts
See?
and all the vegan stuff, and I was like, what is this? And like what is vegan turkey? And I never heard about that before. And then he was there, and he explained about the deal with straight edge culture,
Right.
all that, but it was still, I didn't care.
Yeah.
I had my Jack and diet, and
Jack and Coke.
yes,
Yes.
that was actually good for throat for a long time.
Really?
Yeah, on the road because it burns out the dust or everything.
Isn't that what Lemmy did too?
Yeah,
Yeah, that
and
was
Frank
his
Frank
drinking
Sinatra.
choice.
That's how I learned it. Somebody said like Frank Sinatra was always
Well, he's
glass.
definitely drinking.
And also like Dino was having
Dino was drinking a
Dean
hell of a
Martin.
lot more,
Yeah,
for
but
Did not know that.
but
yeah.
going back to straight edge.
Right.
So then we have this straight edge guy who knows all you guys here in Hollywood, like AFI and all the H2O, all
Yeah.
you guys, and great bands and Rancid, and and also we were touring. The guys from Rancid came to say hi, and I remember first time going to see AFI, and you guys had the custom of standing on stage because of the Warped Tour had just started.
Yes.
There's some punk rock custom to stand on
Yeah.
on the side of the stage. I was like, how can
It's like, get the hell out
I
the
can't
stage,
I can't
man.
go to interfere. No, we should be there. It's a friendship, and we were explain all that.
Supporting your friends, just hanging with your friends. on
Yeah,
stage.
yeah, exactly. Your song even.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Be
So-
quiet, Derek.
Yeah. So all this always.
Let's say metal.
So yeah, we were educated all this stuff, but it was very alien. I didn't care, and I was in the country of Elvis, Ramones, and hamburgers, right?
Yes.
And good times. And then later on, of course, I don't have the best genes in the world, and then at some point there was possibility of getting second degree of diabetes and cholesterol levels, but I looked like now. So the doctor said that when I was a little over 40, I went to get the check out my blood because I'm this age, and they said like, no worries, look at yourself, you're a healthy looking guy. But then there's these genes like my ancestors hunting me, and like from very selfish reasons I started to become a vegetarian and quickly vegan. And then like during one summer, and it was just interesting. And one of the main things, actually, I'm forgetting it. My story is very complicated, so if you can't follow, I apologize that. But like after when the record industry changed 2009, remember? I mean, first it was news that Tower Records no longer exist, and that means like there was like 700 stores around the States.
True.
So think of like how many CDs you sold less all of a sudden.
Oh yeah.
And then it all happened. It changed. So it meant that the 69 like the happy days were over, and happy hour was over, and all of a sudden it was 2010, 12, and there was no chance for us to come to play in the States, which was like very important for us. So I wanted to come, so I had a chance. One of my best friends, Brian Pereira, owns Cleopatra Records, this classic goth rock and roll label. So he just suggested me like, why don't you? Because my voice, why don't you do I wanted to do a rockabilly, and he made it possible. And he connected me with Danny B. Harvey, the legendary rockabilly guitarist from Headcat with Lemmy. Headcat was crazy, like Danny B. Harvey, Slim Jim Phantom, and Lemmy.
Slim Jim.
Yeah, shout out to Slim Jim.
Yeah, Stray Cat.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was in touch with Danny B. Harvey, and then we started to make rockabilly, and we wanted to play it live, so we get a Chopper Franklin from the Cramps, Latter Day Cramps, on bass.
That's
and,
surreal.
And drummer was Clem Burke from Blondie.
Wow.
That's like a dream for you.
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
That's
that was
crazy.
like,
Yeah,
hold on, what's
absolutely.
happening? So I'm living the dream there. So we played a handful of shows. Well, not with Clem because he was so busy, but nevertheless, I had a chance to do the record with these guys.
Wow,
But Chopper
record.
was from the Cramps,
Crazy.
and so the whole Cramps was vegan. Did you know that?
Did
Never
not
knew
know
that.
that.
They were vegan. Think of how they looked till the end. So
Right.
it's kind of, now you can obvious.
Yeah,
they were
crazy.
vegan. So Chopper was vegan as a Cramp, and I remember in Austin we went to a Mexican restaurant, and I sat next to Chopper, and he ordered like
Rice beans.
something vegan nacho, no nachos, vegan tacos or something.
Okay.
And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm once again made a joke. Are you a hippie or something? And he definitely didn't give a nice look on me, and he was pretty scary, tall guy. So I learned all about that from him, and he even explained. I said like, okay, I want to become a vegan. Let me have the same that you have, and his reason to be vegan and was like he doesn't feel. You don't get tired when you eat. You can have all the power, and you can actually drink and party harder in the evening. So I was like, wow, I want that. That bring more vegan food for me.
That's
So
funny.
yeah, and then that was the start of it, and then I was like, okay, when I go back home, what should I do next as I start to be vegan?
Right.
So he told me to buy a juicer. And he told, I was like, okay, did you use juicer with the cramps in a tour bus? He said that they had a juicer in a tour bus, but it's so complicated to clean.
It's messy.
Yeah. Then there wasn't this kind of easy, like a bullet juicer. They weren't around yet. So that was a funny story that they had always juicer on the tour bus, but they never used that. But nevertheless, I bought a juicer. Then I write an email to Chopper, like, what next? I have a juicer at home. Can you what next? And then he sent it's like a vegan zombie juice book or something like that.
That's cool.
Like PDF for me, like recipes.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Okay, now comes the strangest part. So then I start to be a vegan by using juicer, and then at the same time I was dreaming of becoming an author, and I have some ideas of writing maybe my little adventures from New York and rock and roll world. And I go to the publisher, and they are like, yeah, let's do the book. And then I told them that pity that there's no juice books in Finland, because I just became a vegan and I need recipes. And they said, like, why don't you do it? And so I did a juice book, which is called Rock and Roll Juicer.
What?
Wow.
And it was
juice.
Yeah, but I was a little bit ahead of my time.
Yeah.
Like let's say when it was 2015 or something, like back then I was ahead of my time, and I did a juice book, and I had 69 recipes in a juice book, and
awesome.
it was beautiful, like coffee table book.
Wow.
Like every
I need to get one of these.
every self-respecting rocker guy needs a coffee table cookbook or something. I had a Jamie Oliver American cookbook, which looks great. So that was my blueprint of doing like a rock and roll vegan juice book. And there's actually up to the 69 cats pictures there too. And this story about like how still greetings to Chopper Franklin making me a vegan. But I learned from that. And then I'm not choosing anymore, but I did a book and I started to, starting my journey to become a vegan, which I've been, I would say from this start, like I would say like nine years. And, then in the early years, I remember, like first year or something, I ran into vegan people. Like for instance, in Germany, there's people at the goth store that I knew, and you learn something one by one. And I thought that they said that they don't use honey because they're vegan, and I was like, that's the most ridiculous. What you give bees a job? Come on. And then they explain me how bees are sent in envelopes and things like that. Is actually like, and I got it. I understood it. So still today, actually, we had a show in Finland, like let's say 2 weeks ago, and for me, it's vegan backstage writer. So there was actually can of vegan honey, which I never had before. I took it home. It was made from, I think, dandelions.
Why do they call it
maybe
honey?
agave's in there. I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean,
I heard about this.
Why would they call it honey then?
Because it tastes.
Well,
like
I mean, why they call it vegan turkey?
Facts.
I'm just saying for people
That's a good
who might
point.
have this question out there.
Because
Yeah,
it tastes like honey and the texture.
Yeah,
is like honey.
it looks like honey,
Okay.
but it's not like melted sugar. It's something else.
Was it good?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So no,
Interesting.
but I mean, this journey was this, and then all of a sudden it's just like there, and like being like as I've been listening to your podcast, it's nothing more pleasurable than being on the tour and put this application on
Happy Cow.
Happy Cow application on and walk the closest or take a Uber to the closest vegan restaurant, and
It's
then
incredible.
it's experience. I don't criticize, but like I'm the only vegan in our band, and everybody's doing what they're doing.
Same.
Yeah. I'm the
All
only
three of
one.
us.
Everybody's
Yeah.
doing. I don't. Then they're fed up for the whole topic. But I mean,
True.
instead of going to the near, like you can see some like red M sign close to the tour bus. Instead of going there, you go to some spiritual, cool place. See probably very cool looking people.
True.
Hear cool music. Maybe pet a cat sometimes,
Yeah.
or
Cat,
maybe see
possibly.
some. Depends on the country. There can be even crystals there, but I
Yeah.
mean, or it's
True.
just like very convenient, and then the application how you pay. It's the most modern place to go.
Awesome.
So
Happy
it-
Cow is great.
yeah,
It-
and
it-
experiencing this all around the world, it's great. So obviously, all of a sudden, you have like a chain of like cool spots, and enjoy. It's very enjoyable. It brings more to your life as a traveler to experience. Obviously, it can be any kind of restaurants, but it's easiest to choose these vegan restaurants to enjoy your life more fully.
I was just thinking now, like how big veganism is and plant-based and all this stuff. But it is still kind of a subculture in a way that like we have this special app, right? And we get to go on that and we find our spots for like our lifestyle. Do you know what I'm saying? Like nobody's on an app looking for a meat spot
well, maybe
because it's everywhere.
Yeah, I mean it is everywhere.
It's like this special little thing we got. Like
And,
this
and I
little,
love Happy Cow. A big shout out to them.
Whoever created it's
Yeah.
incredible.
I just think,
Fantastic.
they really need to keep it updated, and that can be difficult because there's been times where I've been like, okay, I'm going there, and I'm like, oh, it's like, are you serious? This place is closed.
Yeah,
I'll actually-
I know going around in
Yeah.
Barcelona,
I'm
like,
like,
or
what?
some block, like around and around.
True.
Why can't I see that name anywhere? you know?
Yeah. it's-
I'll Google it too, though.
So this was
Check-
I was
check
just
the
gonna say,
hours.
like, if you don't have it, not to like get down on Happy Cow because Happy Cow has saved me many times.
Love you, Happy Cow.
You can still, it's incredible. You can still go to like Google Maps and put in just the word vegan in your surrounding area, and they will show a lot of stuff that's not necessarily on Happy Cow, but places that have great
Sure.
vegan
Interesting.
options.
Yeah, they have
and
it
the best
everywhere.
is to read the reviews that people have. They're like, this place, I'm not a vegan, but this was amazing.
Yeah.
I like that.
Like, and I love that too. And so I started, I use both.
Yeah.
So it really just opens up a whole new world. But it's incredible that even like Google, you can just find like.
Do you still have that you go to some just some ultra vegan place and then you like for I went to Gracias Madre and ordered something,
Right.
but I still ask like. So it says like like
sure?
chicken tacos. You're like you make
It's all vegan.
Yeah, it's just everywhere. Like this is nothing but vegan. But then you're like, so. You know.
I mean,
Isn't
now there's a lot of places that aren't even
true.
telling you that it's vegan.
Yeah,
Like I went
yeah.
to places in Vancouver and it was like a bakery and it was amazing and it was like we don't even write it anywhere.
Ah,
And
okay.
It's just like packed.
Yeah,
out.
okay.
And they're
Because
just
then
like,
people don't even know it's vegan.
Yeah.
That's cool too.
It's very cool. There's a place
Wow.
in Sao Paulo to a restaurant. They don't have it on any of the menus. It's like chicken, People just go there, eat it.
Oh, all right. Okay.
They're like, this is vegan?
But I do like what he said. I get like that too. Like this is 100% vegan. Like you get
Of
all.
course, of
They're
course.
like yes, people ask them that every day though. It's like
Yeah.
it's such a life changer though, right? It's being there.
But you know, like at sometimes, like I think it's only Finnish thing. But if you, like I said, I'm experiencing with coffee once in a while. So I get a like let's say or oat latte, and then they give it to me, but they put like a piece of chocolate there as a, and I'm like,
It's like you
like
just
like
fucked that shit up.
yeah, it's like why do you think that I need that? Because I just ordered, and it's not vegan chocolate. So,
This
but
shit-
But people
it-
don't put that together. They don't
I
think about
know,
chocolate
they-
as not
they
being
don't
yeah,
think
and
about
some
it,
cultures, the word vegan, you have to kind of
Yeah.
like it's the plant-based in local language is probably more understandable than the word vegan.
100%.
Like in
100%, yeah.
Italy, for
Oh
instance.
yeah.
I think it's like a softer word that it's more. People acknowledge it more plant-based over vegan. Vegan can be very scary to people, threatening.
People
get
don't
weird,
necessarily understand.
but they get weird about
100%.
vegan people too, though,
Yeah, they do.
because some vegan people are intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't. So what I don't want to like. I don't want to be a poster boy for veganism in that sense. And I was involved with this vegan club, this LA-based, plant-based, like art thing, which I thought was super cool when I first saw it somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I went to Monty's burger, which I have to visit every time here. The green matcha shake is like
Great.
It's like
That's a
I'm
Travis- that's a-
glad it's not available in Finland because I couldn't. I don't know how much I should jog in a day to have like one of them.
You
Like
talking about the
daily.
matcha one?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a Travis Barker one.
Yes,
He created it. Shout out to
It's
Travis.
so cool, good.
It's
So
incredible.
nevertheless, I saw the posters were there in
We're in
Monty's
there, bro.
Burger.
We're in the bathroom, me and you, a picture.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So I got a little bit involved, and they made a poster of me. And when I put it out in my
Constantine.
Instagram account, there was obviously somebody saying, "Hey, but you're wearing a leather jacket," and I was like, yeah."
The police.
Yeah, exactly.
The
So,
police-
but I mean, so I don't want to. This. So it's like it's private information that I eat vegan. But if you ask here, we just talked about it because this program is all about these other options of in life.
Yeah.
So that was my choice, and I don't want to advertise it. And
love
we
that.
all agree also with that the vegans are the first to tell that they are vegans and so on.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know.
They could be the worst enemy, vegans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing, two things. One, obviously, I have other people I know that are vegans that have leather seats in their car, but they don't want to sell their car. They have like something that they had leather for years and they still wear because if you throw it away, you're wasting the animal.
Right.
You already have the product.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
nobody's perfect as a human. Like, I was
Yeah.
at my dentist the other day and I was like, how many different things you're putting in my mouth right now have been tested on animals? He's like, all of them.
Right.
It's like, it's impossible. Am I going to fly in an airplane only with canvas seats? Am I going to take an Uber with
Right.
non-leather?
Yeah.
It's impossible, man. So don't even beat yourself up about it because
True.
people are going to judge you no matter what.
And if you're going to open your mouth to a perfect stranger that you don't know on the internet and just pull out like the negative things, then at least if you're going to point out something, then be like, hey, I love what I love the style that you're wearing. I see you're wearing leather. Here's an option. Let's say there's a mushroom leather or something
Totally.
like that's
Yeah.
that style, rocker style. If a company would come out or a person would say that, a positive suggestion, or something where you didn't know. You're like, okay, that's cool, but I don't understand the whole negative bring somebody down, for doing their part. Everyone's got a part and everyone's developing in a certain different way. And, let people have that freedom to evolve and find the things that they're, that's needed for them.
Yeah, if somebody's interesting, that's how I'm vegan. But going back to my path, so that I learned about like vegans, like I told you, like
Right.
in 2005 here, and after that here in Hollywood, and you guys were the coolest looking guys with tattoos and best
Thank you,
looking
man.
people around, and everything was like everything was like so cool. And then I had a chance to join your forces or club through the cramps, and like once again going to the back to the cramps, and
So
then
cool.
then like that was my path, and that was selfish. I wanted to party hard,
Right.
last longer, and be
Oh, the
ready.
reasons why you did it.
Yeah, I'm ready to
Right.
rock, and then also like I wanted to look good. I'm very disciplined. I'll do the sports, like let's say something like six times in a week. Do the exercise of running and going to gym.
You look
and-
great, man.
Thank you, and all that. Except now I'm on holiday and I had my green matcha, like shakes, because
How much sugar's in that? Who knows?
I don't. Yeah,
Oh,
ask
ridiculous
Travis.
amount.
I went to ask
Yeah.
Travis.
Greetings to
It's-
Travis.
The shit's heavy too, but
I
it's
know,
so
dude.
good though.
But it's so good. So I'm glad it's not available, like I said, like in Finland. So, but nevertheless, so for selfish reason, I wanted to party, stay awake late, feel good, look good, all that. And then later on, all of a sudden, it started to creep in that I use this word. I don't know if it's possible to use in this program, but animal holocaust. That was like all of a sudden obviously, like I've been sensitive kid and I loved animals ever since I was since I was born here.
Right.
But then all of a sudden I talked about the bees earlier, and all of a sudden it's a fish, animals, horrible torture and all that coming in, and that was. And all of a sudden, I'm very happy, and the other reasons as well. But first, just selfish asshole, wanted to party hard, look good, becoming a vegan. But then the other aspects came there just
Yeah.
all of a sudden. And I was so happy and about being on the right side of things.
Right.
But that's not so simple. So I have once in a while, like I have a chance to stay in the countryside in Finland, and I go to local grocery store and I pick up the vegan options. And I know that there's also farmers there who have who have cows and who are part of that industry. I sort of like wonder what they think if they see that I pick up the other options. So it's not that like black and white. Like they know what they do, but there's hopefully chances of let's say like a political chances of making developments for animals to get better life on this planet. It's not like I mean, well, I'm trying to explain this that like it's not I'm this urban person saying that you there in the countryside do this and that. It's like it's everybody's doing the right thing, but we have to together to find other options and solutions. And one of the solution is just to, if somebody is interested in that, like just to have like a green matcha shake when you go to Monty's or drive by.
Even people doing meatless Mondays, or people just like slowly trying to cut things out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, I just here to party and enjoy rock and roll and dream about becoming Spider-Man and all that and next step will be like I've gained everything in rock and roll. I just want to maybe end up in the movies and stuff like that. But if somebody asks, well, I am vegan, so that's it. But I'm also like, but I love my life as I love the discipline, and then also like being a vegan. You need to be a little. I mean, I don't even think about it anymore at all. It's no question about it, and like same thing happened actually. Like I talked about the partying and Jack Daniels. That was big part of my lifestyle. Yeah. And being the last guy at the Rainbow Bar and Grill when they closed down and have a good time and fun. But then COVID came and 69 Eyes was on tour in Russia. We had a Russian tour and the last show was in Samara. Have you ever been there, Derek? Yeah. So that's in the center of Russia. And we were there, all the world was closed down, and we decided not to have a meet and greet with the fans, but we decided to play a show, and everywhere else is closed down. Like, let's play it safe, no meet and greet, but still, play a show. So we played that last show, and then we took a flight to Moscow, and I have a few beers at the airport, and then I flew home, and then a couple of weeks went, and I was home, and none of us had a chance to go to bars because bars didn't exist for I don't remember anymore how long, because we sort of start to gladly forget those times.
Yes.
But it's still always like when we speak like, I just saw Misfits at the Madison Square Garden, but it's actually 3 years plus, well, actually half a year, but still, like it's always 3 years to put somewhere there. Wow. But nevertheless, so all of a sudden, like no bars, no reason to go out, no social drinking and so on. So I just decided like, fuck it, like I don't need that stuff. And ever since, over 3 years, I've been just like that. I'm done with alcohol.
Wow, man.
And every day, I'm very glad that I don't have to face hangover ever in my life. That is just something that I'm actually literally happy, and especially like visiting here, early in the morning. It's very different. Like let's say 5 years ago in LA, how was my mornings? Actually, the Google Muck, but you can do the Google Muck in different ways too, That's as long as you do the goo mark. You have to do the goo mark, but there's a couple of ways to do it. So yeah, so that happened too. So I'm kind of boring guy. I'm vegan and I don't drink alcohol. What happened?
Yeah, no, but it's funny that
amazing.
you say this. It's not. I don't think it's only you that were kind of affected this way and just kind of cut it off. I mean, there's a lot of people I realize in the whole musicians that stopped drinking. My guitarist at the same time, around the same time before the pandemic, was just like decided to stop. There wasn't me as well. You know, it was like I don't drink either, and it's been some time now, and I just kept thinking like, why did I drink? You know, and
Same here.
You know, it's like there was so many negatives. Like the list was like massive.
Yeah.
And then I try to put in the positives.
The regret and feeling horrible, and then going. I was. Let's say that I never went on stage. Let's just say I never went on stage drunk, but I mean going on stage in a massive hangover.
I can't imagine, man.
You know,
But I mean, for people.
but that's actually cured you, and you sweat it out.
But
We're good to go.
You do it
afterwards.
again.
Yeah,
Good to go. Well, okay. I'm going out.
But I
then.
think
What
for
time?
people
What
to
time is that?
understand,
What
I mean-
time is the bus call?
But is this true or not? I mean, Finland has a massive drinking culture.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah.
from my experience of being there, I was like, wow, this is really over the top. Seeing festivals back in the day there would be people like completely out in the field, passed out, and then you'd have people specifically there to turn them over so they weren't puking.
Yeah, and also like you pay a price of a ticket to go to festivals to see bands, but you're actually unconscious like 3 days. And
It was
then
like
it's
that
cool.
type
Then
of culture,
it was actually kind of cool to tell your friends. So what bands you did see? I saw only the Ramones, but none other. I didn't see Iggy or something like that.
Wow.
And it was
Cool
cool
drinking
because it meant that you
that.
had good time.
I was
Parties.
like in shock. I was like, wow, there's like people that just like out.
Do
A lot of people.
you drink like non-alcoholic beer?
Yes.
That's good.
It's tasty.
Is it?
Yeah, that's cool.
I like the
zero
taste of-
beer,
Like,
yeah.
I like the taste of beer. I loved beer. Like I'm a big Czech beer fan. You know, my son being Czech and experiencing the beer culture there, and I was just like, wow, this is the best beer in the world they have going on here, and it's like water. But I'm so happy that there's this non-alcoholic beer.
Options.
And I usually just have, I mean, it's just one. I just love, it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
This
You can probably have like maximum 3 in a night,
Exactly,
I
yeah.
guess. But you know, and it's also like
It's, yeah.
it's you can gain weight, but
Exactly.
but the
It's
thing is like,
sugar.
but it's cultural like experience. Like I was exactly a year ago in Dublin, Ireland, to see Green Day.
Nice.
I had a chance to go to see the show, and I actually hang out with the guys a little bit afterwards. So going to Dublin, think of like this, and in England in general, the pubs, and so it's like, all right, I just don't go to the pubs, but you can because they have like Guinness Zero,
Yeah.
and
we
then
have this.
they pour it, and it takes like more than 5 minutes to come out, and then there's this creamy like classic Guinness
Yeah.
foam, and it's exactly the same cultural experience.
Wow.
It takes forever to like real Guinness. It takes 5 minutes at least to come and have the foam, but the Zero Guinness has the same thing. So that's the genius like invention. So you have the same cultural experience. You hang out in the pubs. You can have, well, how many Zero Guinness you can have? Probably maximum in a day, probably 2 or 3.
Why? What happens?
it's just heavy,
It's just
man.
heavy.
It's so heavy, but
Just
nevertheless,
fattening.
it's
Like alcohol has a lot of sugar in
Yeah.
general, but I mean, I think in Europe they definitely do it much better.
Yeah, so-
You know, I mean, they really are worried about the taste and everything.
well, I mean, those products are as more expensive than the real
Yeah,
alcoholic ones
yeah.
because it's a new technology how
Right.
they do that. They actually do it in the same way, but they just boil the alcohol. That's it. Somebody have better information, but I'm told that they just boil the alcohol
Okay.
away, but it's just done with the same technique, and that's why it's a little bit expensive. So that's a cool thing. That's a
And-
cool
and
alternative.
option for you
I never
guys.
even thought
Yeah.
about it until then, and then
It's for option for everybody, you know, like,
That's
and
cool.
then you're good to go, and you look cool in any rock bar or any environment
It's
that
on a
people
rider
are
now,
drinking.
you know, it's like this.
Oh, that's
not gonna
cool.
be-
Same,
it's like
same
we-
here,
it's
same
just
here.
switched out. Like,
Yeah.
there's nobody actually drinking.
Yeah,
backstage.
yeah,
No more.
yeah,
And we're not telling like our crew not to drink either. They're just like,
yeah,
oh, we'll have a beer and go to bed.
yeah.
You know, they're like, it's really.
We're older now.
We have a couple of like me and some other guys in our band are sober. So actually, the other guys are getting there. Not saying anything, but I can tell that sort of like we're not giving bad eyes to them.
Right.
But I mean, you know, they probably want to be fresh next day as well. You know, but
Yeah.
it happens slowly. But on the other hand,
You're seeing you guys, yeah.
like we've been like our band has been together all these years, so
Yeah, the
we
same.
we started it like we believed in the fact that, you know, like the Cult, it's always the same members, the Ramones always
love
the
that,
same
man.
members, Rolling Stone,
The Ramones, no.
yeah, well,
Pretty close.
not that much, but
Yeah.
but at that time, you know,
Yeah.
and then, you know, like
Come on,
some other bands, you know, it was like the Rolling Stones, like sort of like we believed that once you're in a band,
Right.
you're supposed to stay. It's like
I love
later
that.
on, power metal bands started to every second album you have to change some guy or at least a
It's
singer.
life.
Yeah, I know. But we thought it's a gang. It's
Yeah.
like a biker
I like
gang,
that. I like
biker
that.
gang.
I
And-
like the idea.
and we're there forever, and we've been. So that's
Through a
also
lot.
that's also the thing that I think you know, people meet their schoolmates once a year and talk about the old times, and then you sort of like relive your youth. We're reliving our youth all the time with these five guys, so
It's
that
really-
keeps us young. So
Yeah.
it's like that, because that's the most common question, like, don't you fight with each other? No. Aren't you tired of your faces in a tour bus or van? Well, not really. I never thought about even that. You know, the classic boring, lame stereotype questions.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
I could be more than 5 years ago, there was a documentary of, and there is a documentary of Pearl Jam 20 years. And that's classic, great band. And the musicians are gathering together. They're very seasoned. They look their age.
Yeah.
And then they talk about like early 90s, like war stories, being on the road forever, and now they're together and fans are super happy that wow. And I was excited to see that this band is like real band. They've been together so long, and
Legit.
and all of a sudden it's like, hold on, they are younger than me. They are younger than our band. And that was a long time ago when this PJ20 came out, and I was like, well, I mean,
I thought
we
Eddie Vedder
all-
was like 50s. I don't
we
know.
all live like our lives differently, and our
Yeah.
every band is a different. Our band is this weird band from all the way from Finland, who still, you know, like coming from, and I like to tell that this way, from the 80s, and
Yeah.
we thought it's lifetime deal if you go to the band, and we thought it's still cool to be in a band and tell your, well, I don't know who you dare to tell anymore that, well, I'm in a band. So and the most common question is like, if you meet some person from your past, they ask, do you still have the same guys
Yeah,
in your
still
band?
do this- yeah.
Are you still into music? You know that
Yeah.
question.
Still into music.
Yeah, and that happens most likely when you've done some music video, or you think you're in the top of your career, and you think that you're like, especially our band is a mainstream band, and I think like, oh, now the whole country saw us, and then next day you go somewhere and somebody from your past comes and, oh, how you doing? Are you still do you still like music? And I'm like, still same guys, and you think that, you know, like everybody should know. It always returns you back to the planet Earth.
What do you think it is that keeps you guys together and going in this longevity?
Well, this excitement of being
Yeah.
next room in the Guns N' Roses original rehearse place,
Creating
mates
together.
Yeah, and then there's a System of Down, like superstars next room, and it's still exciting, and we want to happen, and we're excited about this as individual music lovers.
Yeah, still big fans.
And it's
yeah.
not business. It never was that much. We, at some point, like I told, we sold gold and platinum, and obviously there's
awesome.
people who work for us, and we have like 500,000 followers in Spotify and all that. But and we are business for some, but at least I don't think it that way. It's for me, it's just like this dream going forever.
What about like a documentary about? Would you do a documentary?
Well, there's a book coming out of us in the end of summer about and that comes out, and there's not that much drama in our story even. Nobody
People
left.
love drama, yeah.
But we're scratching our heads like there has to be some clickbait stuff there. We have to come up with something. But because it's just like this, we're excited, and I'm sending links if Iggy Pop has a new single out. I'm sending Spotify link to the whole band, like, hey, check this out.
Awesome.
It's still the excitement, and I mean they're freaking out that I'm in this table. Then they're so excited that I had a chance to do this show as well.
That's amazing.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
So it's just like how it should be, and like for us, it is like I read some long time ago a Marilyn Manson interview where he said like all of us who are in the bands, we're the biggest fanboys. We know all the photographs of our favorite bands. We remember how they posed, and we studied those pictures.
It's very true.
All night long, and maybe even obviously we had probably posters, all of us in our rooms. But we know all the photos. We remember how this and this guy was standing and what kind of shoes he had. So we studied that stuff. So it's still, it's not. It was there, and it never goes away.
True.
I mean, you were studying that stuff as a kid with all the comic books and different things you were watching and reading until you actually got to go to Helsinki and go to the big city because you're in a small town.
Yes,
like
exactly. And looking like Brian Gregory's picture, how this is possible, or the mystery. Or one of the influential band was also like Gun Club from here, from LA, and one of the things was like all these artists from these then new bands was they had black hair and they wore sunglasses. What's going? So you know the rest. So that was so exciting, and I was thinking it's only mystery. Later on, I realized that there's something else when people are wearing sunglasses after dark and so on. But it never occurred to me, of course. Seriously.
Sunglasses.
Yeah, but I mean, I was just thinking it's mystery, and these guys have something else. But later on, of course, the reality of things and darkness of rock and roll life, was also revealed.
I want to talk about also Death of Darkness, your newest record, and the song This Murder Takes Two, you and Kat Von D, which I think you sound amazing together.
Thank you.
It's really cool. I know it probably came about because you guys are friends.
That relates back to this. How would you call that period in Hollywood, like 2005, and that these new clubs like Le Du and the clubs that you guys were going, and also Swingers was a big part of that, going to Swingers after club nights.
Yeah.
And all you guys there was these goth clubs, and I remember going, I was just a visitor, like I always was in New York, but then in here as well, I remember going to goth club, and then there was like this Smith song going on. It's totally empty room, but only one guy spitting on the dance floor, and that was David Havoc. And I was like, what
awesome.
That's incredible, like how is this even possible? But I have to say,
awesome.
but those are inspiring moments still today to me. But I went, how would you call that time? Was it like Warped Tour days?
Maybe.
Or?
Was Ellie Inca show too back then?
Yes, exactly. That happened also, like, and that's how, and also like MySpace started.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we were famous in MySpace because of a couple of the most famous girls were friends of this particular Daniels that we mentioned. So we were like, we remember top 8 bands on the list there.
Wow.
So we were all of a sudden there was Good Charlotte, most likely H2O as well, and maybe AFI, maybe Avenged Sevenfold, but when there was 69 Eyes there as well, strangely enough. So all of a sudden we were, and then same time jackass turn into Viva la Bam.
Oh yeah, Bam's in one of your videos.
Yeah. Bam was a fan of ours, friend of ours, directed a couple of music videos, and we were in his TV show. But all this cultural thing happened, MySpace and that here in Hollywood, and the club life, tattoos, you know, like and straight edge boys, straight edge girls,
all coming together somehow. You're right. That's interesting.
Yeah. So that was then. So I was here. Like, remember, I tried to come to see the Guns N' Roses Sunset Strip days, but I didn't have money enough, so I ended up to New York. So I went there a couple of like only summers for a couple of weeks, but I met these people. I saw all these great bands, punk rock as well, and all these legends who were still roaming on the streets. Then later on, I got some money. I came to LA in '91. And the Sunset Strip thing was still going on. Oh, yeah. And it was streets were full of guys who looked like, well, us in the mid 80s in Helsinki, but boots, tight jeans, bandanas, long hair, backcomb hair. And somebody told me that he was like 2,000 bands, which 2,000 times 5 is like how many guys came to try out, and also
to make it in LA.
And double amount of like girls who were working as there was a word, exotic dancers back then.
Gotcha.
So it was kind of very trippy time to see. So I saw that, and then I came back like after 15 years, and then you had your scene here, which I would call like late night dinner at Swingers. Let's have that name for that.
Yeah, everybody would end up going there after the show.
Yeah, exactly. So I was glad to meet all you guys here and get involved with this modern Hollywood times. And then our band was like all like we were playing goth rock, rock and roll, glammy rock, but emos discovered us as well through TV. So Cat was here as well, part of that Viva la Bam scene, and of course like starting her own tattooing career and own High Voltage was here, and we knew each other, and we were in touch all through these years. We actually recorded a song 2000 and I think 12 with Cat, but it didn't got that much notice. And now later, like all these years, over a decade later, we got this song, and somebody said that it needs female vocals. So I thought that, hey, now it's a time to do it right and get Kat back. And I texted her, and then she immediately answered. So now you got the song, and then we did the music video, like in the desert, like early this year. So it was just, it's all the same story, same principles, same values. Same dreams, same characters, Brian Gregory and the Cramps. Yeah.
But she sounds so good.
Thank you. You guys sound
really
great.
awesome,
Thank you,
man.
sir.
It really sounds good.
Damn, man. So what a long journey in the same band, man. It's crazy.
It's kind of complicated to tell, but that's in this table I feel comfortable to try to explain it a little bit. But it's I think we.
And coming from Finland, it's such a unique place. I mean, it's unique in the Scandinavian world itself. You know, it stands alone from Sweden or Norway or Denmark. It's really in its own.
But like I said, we had a freedom to look east and west or west.
Yes.
But that then again, like there's great metal bands coming from there as well. But they more represent like Finnish culture and like the 69 Eyes. I wanted to call us like Helsinki vampires because of course I ripped off Hollywood vampires title. And I put Helsinki there, so I wanted us to be called as Helsinki vampires because I wanted to identify us to Finland and Helsinki, not to pretend to be somewhere else.
Right.
But I mean, but our main inspiration comes from American pop culture. But if you go to the musical side of the things, we write catchy, melancholic songs, and its melancholic melodies come from our heritage between East and West.
Right. That and
so that is there. There is part there. It's not like like that part is something that strangely enough, not so many bands from the States can write that kind of music at all. But I wish I'm just waiting that some band comes and makes me, like I'm not needed anymore. Like there comes a band which is like I realized that okay, now we're retired because there's this band that has all these things that I'm worshipping. There's sometimes been pretty close, some bands, but not yet entirely.
Yeah. Did you ever want to quit?
No, because I'm like I said, we feel. I mean, we've done 13 albums. Like
I know,
but that's kind of
amazing,
embarrassing. Embarrassing like number. I would rather it would be probably cooler. Like the Sisters of Mercy has done 3 albums, right? So would it be like
I never even thought about that.
would it be cool to say that we've done 3 albums and the last one came out like
Right.
let's say 2009, and because we still play majority of our songs from those 15-year-old records, and they play that music on the radio in Finland. So basically,
amazing,
we shouldn't. We're known. We don't need to make new records, but it's kind of like a reason for booking agent to call around these calls like, hey, they have a new album out.
Right.
What about the
Tour cycle?
Yeah. So
That's true.
that's why. But we like to create, and we can write the songs, and it's still fun. But
Was there ever a pressure to put out, since you put out so many albums, like touring, like in order to tour, you need to have a new album. So did you ever feel that pressure to do an album where you're able to go at your own pace? Just
well, I mean,
natural?
I always wanted to avoid that.
Yeah.
Like because that's a routine that, especially in metal scene,
Yeah.
that you had like let's talk about like 2000, let's say for 15 or something. Certain bands had their albums out, then they do the routine together or with the package, and then they and before that they do the interviews, and you see their faces on the magazines, and then then the tour comes, and then like after some time the same goes on again. I called that the rat race.
Yes.
We were caught to that rat race ourselves as well.
Yeah.
But now as we're talking, with this last 30th album, we released majority of the songs as singles. So it was much more interesting to get the feedback immediately, and also like get the immediate feedback, and so the fans say, oh, this is sounds like this and that, and oh wow, you're so energetic, and that's great. So I'm rather in the future concentrating on putting out single songs as singles instead of trying to write like some double opus exactly. I'm not so I'm that's done, so it's time to put out songs now and then. Guess what's going to be the next 69 Eyes single? It comes out in the end of this summer.
Is it a cover song?
Yes.
It's a cover
Okay,
song.
so
Is it a Cramp song?
Yes. there comes a Cramps tribute album that we're on,
That's sick.
and so we did
there's a
it's
lot of
actually
bands doing.
yes, there's Shooter Jennings and
that's cool.
like high profile artists like that. So actually we haven't announced. Well, it doesn't matter. We're
That's
doing
cool.
we're doing Aloha from Hell.
Okay,
That's from the Date with
Nice.
Elvis album.
right.
So
That's
we're doing
amazing,
that. So
man.
that's the next. Talking about the Cramps. Have we talked about anything else?
Cramps
Like
are-
Peter Parker, Lux Interior,
Mickey
Poison
Mou-
Ivy,
Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse. Yeah, those
No,
are the
I-
most important things in
No, I
life.
love that. I was looking at records just like 92 is the first one.
Yeah, that's it. That's the album, and before
Bump
that,
and Grind.
yeah, we released
Is that
some.
crazy name, Bump and Grind?
Oh, it comes from a T-Rex song.
Oh,
You gotta bump and grind. It's
We know it
good
as
for your
another song.
mind, like Children of Revolution.
Ah.
It comes from that. But I mean, that was very clammy. But we were like, we played a lot of covers, cover set.
Oh, you did?
Like back then, like
Okay.
like Stooges, because we didn't have our own songs, like
Right.
Yeah.
again
Stooges,
Stooges,
uh-huh.
Dead Boys,
Dead Boys
Alice
from
Cooper.
Cleveland. Shadow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then actually Cheetah Chrome is
Nice.
Cheetah Chrome,
he's one of my favorite guitarists still. And actually I saw Wayne Kramer a few nights ago here on stage
What?
playing with Pere Ubu.
What?
Talking about
Last time I
true
saw
believer
Pere
rock
Ubu
and
was
roll. Yeah.
Tramps.
Dang.
Yeah. So never mind. So we played those songs, and also Gigi Allen, because I got somebody taped
the Gigi.
me, the Cramps, once again, Cramps like live album, and then remember C tapes, if there was like 15 minutes empty,
Yeah.
so your friend taped something that you might find interesting as a bonus surprise. So somebody recorded, like a Gigi Allen EP, which he did with the MC5 guys.
Oh, that's cool.
So there's these songs like "Gimme Some Head," which actually 69 Eyes covered and play live. So talking about Gigi Allen, which I like to mention because I was a fan of the music, and I saw him in New York at Beowulf. Like he played a show right after he got out from jail. After he in Maximum Rock and Roll, he had this one-page announcement that he's going to take part of the audience. Audience. And
Yes.
and he was still in prison. Then he got out, and I was accidentally in New York, and I went to see the show. But I always we all the audience ran about like 5-6 times away from the
Stage.
venue, because he jumped down from the stage. Second song already like stripped half naked, and we didn't know what's going on, but there was a news that he might take the audience with him to the grave, so everybody ran away. But the band played so fucking tight Motor City Rock and Roll all through the show, so I was always fan of the music. And then I haven't even watched like these most recent documentaries.
It's really good, actually.
But
good.
do you mean the one which was done this director of Hangover movies?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm like, there's once again talking about Gigi Allen. People know something. I'm talking about the music and like this rock and roll guy who was playing really cool music, a little bit obscure lyrics and getting harder lyrics at some point. So I'm actually I had my solo album out like a little over a year ago. I actually covered "Bite It, You Scum" to there, because that's you know the bass line.
I'm not sure now.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really good. I mean, some of the songs are really good, and especially this EP that was taped to me, where the other musicians are from MC5.
Yeah.
So that's like "Give Me Some Head." That's fantastic rock and roll. So that was that's how I know about Gigi Allen, and that's why the 69 Eyes was covering Gigi Allen, because it was just good rock, contemporary, newish rock and roll guy from the late 80s.
Yeah.
So nevertheless, we were playing that kind of stuff, obscure, clammy, of course. And back in the 80s, also like garage rock was very popular.
Right.
Well, like 60s garage rock done by the 80s way. The bands like the Fuzz-Tones and those
Fuzz-Tones,
fantastic bands, and that was inspiring us. Then there was also the horror element. So we started like that. We made a couple of EPs. Then we had the album out that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
But nothing happened. We were late because the glam rock and hard rock train has gone away.
Yeah.
And we were like still coming out from that direction with the commercial album. We should have recorded, when we did our first EPs, the whole album with the like kind of garage sounding record, but we tried to become a mainstream band early on. Yeah, and then we were late. But that's also like people, and I'm explaining that the 80s didn't stop till like it was 1st of January 1990. 80s was going on till probably like could be like, I think like 93 or 94 late, it's like when the Guns N' Roses had their Use Your Illusion, that was still like 80s, with those records. But on the other hand, they was coming out already, 90s were coming up already in the 80s when like like Faith No More had their second album out, and all of a sudden there was like, same with Nine Inch Nails and Ministry happening, and all that stuff came, and of course Seattle.
Then the grunge came and just like
But
Like,
I was
crushed it all.
listening. I loved the bands from Seattle because they played like Motor City, Stooges, rock and roll,
Yeah.
like Mudhoney and
Soundgarden.
Nirvana. Yeah, that was rock and roll. That was
Yeah.
later on. All of a sudden, it was like the fashion, and there was a certain brand for that. But
Yeah.
you know.
It's a great time.
It's hard.
music,
It's
man.
hard. Yeah, but that was great time.
Yeah.
The only thing was, which I think is kind of like, I wasn't involved, obvious in that much, but it must have been hard for the glam rock guys to. You remember when they were having like a Doc Martens and then like flannel shirt, but still like a glammy like top and hair, combining all that. You remember that time?
They were trying to go through transition
Yeah,
too.
they didn't exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
Axl was showing the path really bravely, and that was really cool. But sometimes there was really strange moments, like.
I remember seeing Axl rocking flannels around his waist too. He was
Yeah, of
trying
course,
to.
of course.
They were putting with NWA hats on.
And then
Just-
wearing 9 Inch Nails T-shirts.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was showing the way. He was forerunner, really.
He was though that
Yeah.
style, right?
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah, but I mean that was complicated time because
It was very
to
complicated.
to
for
put
certain-
like hold on, I love Doc Martens. They belong to British punk scene and goth, but at the same time I like to put this like like glammy jacket on or something like that.
And they still have the hair and shit, and then like the
Yeah, exactly.
rocking the bandanas.
Yeah.
a lot of bandanas.
Yeah.
A lot.
But that was an interesting transition. Thinking about Guns
It was
N'
a weird
Roses.
transition for sure.
And it's such a hard record too. That record, man.
Yeah. I mean, I was way into like punk and hardcore.
You
So I
didn't- you-
remember when it came out and I was already like in high school and I was like, fuck this. I was like, I was still like Christian Death.
Yeah, yeah.
I was really into, I mean, it was such a, I don't know, I was like very close-minded,
Minded
I
about
would
it.
like to say. But it took me many years later
Me
to
too.
get into Guns N' Roses.
To digest
honestly.
it and listen to it.
But it was like, it was still influential, to see the videos and it was everywhere.
course.
And I was just like, okay, this solos, it's like I didn't have to buy the album. I knew all the songs. That's how powerful
I think
it was.
right now if because I'm this 50s rock and roll guy as well and Elvis fan, so I think the best, I mean, no, why to name the best rock and roll song, but it could be Heartbreak Hotel by Elvis, but it could be also Welcome to the Jungle. It's so powerful. It has all that like danger and energy, but it can be also a lot of other songs.
Oh no, I mean,
But-
for sure. I mean, there's
Like-
definitely I mean, in my head, it's for sure like Little Richard.
Yeah, of
You know,
course,
because
of
he's
course,
talking about,
of
like,
course.
Car, girl, like
Yeah, of
the
course.
basic elements of,
Of
rock
course,
and roll.
of
You see
course,
the new
of course.
documentary about him just came out.
No.
I haven't
It's
seen it.
incredible.
Is it?
Oh,
I watched
yeah.
it the other night. Yeah, it's really great, man.
Or I'm
Little Richard
thinking of,
documentary.
Like
Or
Little
I have to
Richard
see that.
or-
I heard about that.
or
It's
Chuck
really
Berry.
Of
know,
course,
like
of course.
Those guys, I mean, they were just so rebellious.
Yes.
And unapologetic.
and it was Mr. Berry. He was like
Yeah.
older guy.
Yeah.
And also like Fats Domino. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I
Fats
love
Domino.
to love that stuff too. Like it's those guys.
I mean, those guys influence. I mean, it's great how you're saying that you took like that culture and created your own style.
Yeah, I like that too.
And that's what I think a lot of British artists did. They admire so much
Yes.
that whole rock and roll, and then you have Led Zeppelin that are based on that Black Sabbath or based on blues, rock, straight old school, style of U.S. American rock and roll. And it's incredible how they interpret it in their own way, and you can feel it. It's their own way, but it still has those elements. And there's certain artists that did this. It was shocking. Like I didn't know where Nick Cave was from.
Me
Oh,
either.
yeah.
And so at first I was listening to Birthday Party, and I was
Yeah,
like, I love this band. They're
Yeah.
fucking chaotic and
Yes.
weird and freaky, and
Yeah.
I knew nothing about them. I was like, I like it that way. Just
Yes.
give me the music and the weird album covers.
A little bit scary too.
Totally scary, and I was like,
Yeah.
And then like Nick Cave and my friends were like, we love this. I was like, this is so down and like weird, and then he has these elements of gospel and old rock. And,
Yeah. Sing about Tupelo.
yeah, and I'm like, how did
Tupelo.
I was like, this dude has got to be from the South.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
definitely
right.
in the U.S. And then it was like, he's Australian. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what? It's like, how is that possible? But it just shows the testament of how powerful music is,
And the impact.
breaking borders of religion or race or any. It has you know,
All the
it
stuff
just
he grew up on
destroys
was in
that.
America. Yeah.
And then he also, like with Nick Cave, he
He's one of my
created
favorite.
like this ghostly mystery
Yes.
surrounded by Elvis and Jesse Garon, Elvis stillborn, you know, brother. So it's all about Nick Cave's like imagination, make it like there's some certain Pacific importance and having Storm in Tupelo, you know, and all that. Like it's like wow,
no, it's
yeah. But also
Deep.
like Jeffrey Lee
Deep.
Pierce from Gun Club was also like praising the same, you know, demon.
yeah, it's
All this mystery of like where like this music came from. That's also like very important, interesting.
Yeah.
I remember when I first read an interview of Duran Duran, and they were asked like, hey, what's your roots and influences, and somebody said David Bowie. And I was so disappointed because I was like, they should have mentioned, you know, like I thought that they should have mentioned, you know, like John Lee Hooker or something like that, like you know, and or Elvis or something.
Right.
And then their roots were David Bowie. Was scratching my head. Hold on, how that can be anybody's roots? Roots are somewhere much deeper. You know?
right.
You have so many different kinds of roots. It's cool.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
The influences. It's just music too.
True.
And I love
that.
to be on tour here. Every time we play in Cleveland, I go to the Rock and Roll
where
Hall
he's
of
from.
Fame. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. So that's my school. I go there and I enjoy.
cool.
Incredible.
I never get tired of that.
Yeah.
And of course, like
Because it's like so many different artists. It's
Yes.
not just specifically rock and roll artists, but it has.
and it's all also not only about music. It's about this country.
Right.
Also,
Yeah.
it's about
Culture.
it's also about like all the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because like rock and roll was such a powerful thing
Still is,
to
yeah.
go all over the most parts of the world. Gladly, it's not everywhere, but you
Yeah.
know where it is. It was just powerful, and that was like gave us or then youth to freedom to think and be different from their parents.
100%.
Absolutely.
Like how we learned from later on, and still it brings the idea for a Billie Eilish fan, for instance,
100%.
or
Yeah.
whatever is like the most new artist. So something to become something that unexpected, that wasn't like which is not handled for you, like you or you don't want to be in the same mold
Yeah,
as
it's
everybody else.
individual, you know,
Yeah.
creating that individualism,
Yes.
you know, which is so important, especially as a youth.
Yeah.
That's when you develop your personality.
100%.
So it's extremely powerful. That's why I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
You know, you feel
Lifesaver. I can't
yeah.
think about life without no music.
I know. It's
But stuff we grew up
impossible to
on.
imagine.
Punk rock, skate, it's everything, you know.
But I mean, music doesn't matter for all of the people. You know,
Yeah,
there's a lot
it's
of like,
true.
it's same as like okay, I explained that I don't have driving license, and the reason why I don't have it is it's not I'm not from the wealthy family, so it would have not been possible, and I wouldn't have a car, and the driving license is still it's getting actually extremely expensive because I'm secretly maybe sometime thinking that maybe so I read this is exactly. This tells so much about me, but I like to portray myself very nerdy and kind of naivistic guy. So I read an interview of The Cult, and Ian Astbury tells that he doesn't have a driving license because neither do cool guys or Native Americans or something like that. So I read about it and I was like, all right, that's it. I don't need driving license. Astbury said that. No way. And then that's why I don't have driving license. So later on, so I don't know anything about cars. I don't recognize cars, and especially I recognize 50s cars, maybe 60s or some 70s, but modern day cars, I have difficulties when Uber comes up if it says like the brand of a car, because I don't don't know how they look. Yeah, exactly. And I have no interest in cars. So same thing for this reason. So because I don't have driving license. So same thing that there's people who don't care about music. There's other so we're many
Other interests.
yeah exactly. So it's like but if you are in the music, you know, then we have a lot of things to talk about. Going to that, back to this reading about driving license. So later on I meet Ian Asbury and I tell him like, all right, thanks for this interview. I don't have driving license. He looked at me like, oh my fucking God, don't believe everything you read.
Oh.
And end of a story. And I think I've seen later on music videos as he's driving a car, I guess.
Oh my God.
So, you know, so here we yeah.
He doesn't have a driver's license.
All right,
He doesn't
okay.
drive for how many years? 20 years?
But we don't need cars.
I don't have a car either. I
If,
sold my
like
car.
like in Helsinki or like in the rural parts of Finland, and if you have a big family, which I don't, unfortunately, I skipped all that tradition as well, just because I guess I've been selfish, interested in living full in this world. So I unfortunately I return to that, but I want to explain it this way, that I don't have family, so I don't need a car to drive my kids and everybody else around. But you know, like I said, occasionally I think about that maybe at some age I might see how it feels, but I don't have no interest in driving, you know.
Have you ever been married?
Unfortunately not, and that's for us singers. It's I think it's like sadly common at some point. There's probably like it can be selfish reasons, and all of a sudden when you are alone, it's very all of a sudden it's very comfortable, and I don't like it, and I'm that's one of the new projects that I might dig further into. I'm too old I'm pretty old to say that I think so, like to be in the singles markets.
on the dating apps.
Yeah, be the old guy. In the
Yeah,
corner.
exactly. On the dating apps. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, and that's what I'm telling with the laughter and serious joy. But I don't. And you know, I don't think it's cool. So I that's something that I want to change at some point. But I mean, there's sometimes
all right. So
times
you're
are
on the
changing.
market, is what
Yeah.
Derek's single too.
Oh, you are.
yeah.
There-
Well, I mean, us singers, come on, man. We have to come up with the dating app for singers, rock and roll singers.
Single singers in their
Terrifying.
50s,
Yeah.
but single
Sounds-
singers in their 50s.
I'm
Yeah.
terrified.
That's
It
a
could
whole
be
different
whole
thing,
new
you know?
reality show.
Yeah,
for God's
exactly.
sakes.
Like 50-year-old singers, singles. Single
So I
singles.
actually I did this reality TV show in Finland last.
What?
No, it was about music last fall,
Okay.
which was very mainstream, and it was viewed by like 1.5 million people.
Sick.
We have 5 million people in our country, so it
Okay.
was
That's
as
huge.
many people watched it as like Olympic Games.
Right.
So I was there on
Wow.
TV half a year. It's a musical TV show. I sang songs and I interact other Finnish long time musicians. But it was very popular, and obviously like there was some other. I was in a tabloids, and they
Wow.
started to recognize me on the streets,
Wow.
which hadn't happened for. Like we were popular in like that 2005 time, but then 10, 15 years totally once again back to the cult, and then cult knowledge, and then all of a sudden we're in mainstream. Our band was there, and I actually enjoyed the attention. I was like stereotype rocker on purpose with a leather jacket, long black hair, boots on, sunglasses, talking about this, what we're talking right now. And people were really excited from the feedback that I got. Like, it's cool that somebody has this kind of pure, honest
Yes.
opinion of things and outlook, and just open to also say that this is ridiculous that I'm vegan and I'm single, and I'm fucked up as well, if you think so. But on the other hand, I like some parts of that, especially being vegan.
Yeah.
So, so people like me on this TV show. So now I got kind of popular in Finland, according to the feedback. Now the shows have been sold out for the 69 Eyes, like
nice.
because of that. That's a reason to go to the TV show.
So it's different audience coming to see you from the show.
Yes,
That's
Right.
cool.
So
man.
so and
It's
yeah,
like
different,
reinventing it.
totally different audience.
But-
I mean,
but
if,
yeah.
if you go to see us at the Whiskey A Go Go, there's people who have like human bones in their leather jackets, and then they grave robbers, and you know, like and bring artifacts from cemeteries for me, and
my
you
God,
you know how they
that's
look,
nice.
you know, like scary audience.
Wow.
But if you come to Finland, you know, like the audience looks like from like really like
Just normal civilians.
normal civilians from you know, like you see normally on the streets.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
none of them wearing black clothes, you know. So that's a difference. We're not cult band there. Here we are, like this serious cult band. So
Were the girls reaching out to you from the show? They saw you on the show?
so I'm explaining.
ladies, yes.
Yes, so I'm explaining
Women,
this.
sorry.
Yes. So I'm explaining this that people liked what I was talking. So maybe there's some other TV shows coming up, and I was actually suggested to be part of some, not the usual dating like TV shows, because I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
Doing show business and TV is fun, but there has to be some it has to be connected to the music
Right.
or
Yeah, for
something
sure.
like
Some
not
symmetry,
just to
yeah.
being like a clown on TV,
Right.
like a cook show or something.
There's a fine line. For
I
that,
did
yeah.
I did them back then when I was in my 30s, because it's fun. It's cool to be on TV or in any social
Yeah.
media, like we know, you know,
Yeah.
like here. So, but there's
It's only going to help your band too.
yes, exactly. So, but they have been giving ideas that maybe there could be interest in of doing something, you know, like this. No, well, Flavor of Love.
No, that was crazy. Remember
yeah,
that?
watched one
yeah,
of
that
those.
was that
All
was
of 'em.
yeah, exactly. Or Rocco, you know, like, but that was 15 years ago. So I'm let's see what happens next.
Yeah,
It
but
wa-
you shined on the show and people loved you on
yeah,
the show.
it would be fun. Let's see. But I mean, that's just like fun things what can happen if you stick to your guns and, you know, be positive and open and you know, enjoy the life and don't be too serious of yourself. You don't
Love it,
portray
man.
yourself like you know everything, and
Something
you
you're
are
not.
very and all these things. I just want to rather, like in this show, I've been talking like I'm kind of lame like guy who believes what the singer of the Cult says in the 80s.
That just shows you're a fan too. Like, come
you
on,
know,
man.
magazines and stuff like that, and lives life according to that. But
No,
why
no,
not? I mean,
no.
it's like it's nothing away from me, and I like to tell these stories
Yeah,
because I'm tell them with the laughter, and that it's fun, and life is fucking. Sorry, I'm swearing.
Because where life is too short. and
Life
it's
is fun. Life
Yeah.
is very fun, and so
It's too short
everybody.
to take your shit seriously. all
Yeah,
the
and
time.
also like, which I briefly bring that also like when to the topic is like you have to capture the moment. So I've been actually doing also meditation, like some same amount of time. I think
Nice.
like 9 years Shambhala meditation, which is there's a lot of applications you can to your phone, but you can concentrate and capture the moment and maybe even stop during the show just to enjoy, like, I mean, slow the time around you. And
I like
so
that.
that's what I like for instance, being here on holiday, I've slowed the time and enjoy the palm trees and everything, and you know, like
I like
see
that.
more around
Yeah.
around you. But it's a very simple thing again, and that's also very selfish, and that's something that we men over 40 maybe or at least over 50 should be doing, like get out of stressful lifestyle and you know, eat healthy, do sports, and take care of ourselves.
yourself.
Yeah, because we have you family guys have a lot of people who love you around you, so you know you have to think of them as well, because
100%.
they don't want to get rid of you, you know.
Yeah,
you
you'll be
mean
there for
them a
them.
lot, so you owe them to stick around, you know.
It's true, man.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here, man. Man, one of my last questions: are you an optimist or pessimist? But you're super positive, man.
Yeah, hey, explain me quickly. That's what I wanted to know about this, PM.
PMA.
Yeah, put it to the explain. Teach me one more time again, because that's something what I learned from you as a phrase and what you talk about in your postings or something.
Yeah.
But can you explain it now in
Where it came from?
in June 2023? What
Well, I mean,
what
it
does
came
it mean
from
right now?
It came from Napoleon Hill, who was an author in the '60s. He had a book called Think and Grow Rich. Also, a book called Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. And that's the books that HR from the Bad Brains and the Bad Brains read those books, and they brought that into their music, and they wrote a song called Attitude, and that song mentions the word PMA. It talks about having this attitude, this positive mental attitude, and that's where we got it from.
Mm-hmm.
All of us got it from the Bad Brains.
Yeah, sure.
And then that trickled down to many different bands, from Gorilla Biscuits to Youth of Today to 7 Seconds and all these other bands that brought like this positive attitude into their music. And not always focusing on the negative and focusing on the good and trying to do better and trying to get through things, having this positive attitude where you can just, I mean, it's a struggle for people to stay positive, but it's there, just seeing that light and surrounding yourself with people who inspire you and stuff like that. And that's where it comes from for me. I got it from the Bad Brains, who's got it through all these other bands and brought it into my life and my music and the way I live my life every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Making it into a lifestyle. I think
Yeah.
it's something you were saying before about manifesting like ideas.
And you
and you hit
And
it
then
right at the
10,000
beginning.
repetitions also. Like, I think you've done that.
So what the mind can,
Yeah,
what the
right.
mind can believe and conceive, it can achieve.
Yeah.
Right.
That's PMA, and you
Okay,
have that,
right.
and that's
Yeah.
how you lived your life.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You put that in the atmosphere,
Right.
and you continue to do it.
Yeah.
So I can legally use that term from this on, and I
You're
put it to
legally
my
allowed to use
I put it to my
terminology.
Instagram profile.
Nobody owns
Yes.
it. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
nobody
owns
owns it,
it. But
man.
it's a way to live your life and think
Absolutely.
and focus every day. And
And again, it's not easy because
It's
there's
not
so
easy.
much negativity around us, but that's easy to tap into and to really, unfortunately, get roped into. And so it's
especially being off your phone.
yeah.
Like, that's the most negativity I see on there is just that,
It
the
is,
news
it
and
is,
all
it
that
is,
stuff.
It is.
You
Also,
know what I mean?
like what I think of like what I'm doing, I managed to over the years gather really good positive people around me
That's
who
a
help me
big
to do
game
whatever
changer.
somebody thinks that I'm doing cool things. Thank you, but it's all these people around me
Right.
who make that happen. For instance, we mentioned this Swedish Daniel,
Yes.
our
The
tour
Swede.
manager
Swede.
from the 2005, and he's there, and I'm here because of him in this podcast. So
Yes.
you know, cool people around you,
Yes.
and they make you and help you to do what you ever want to do.
They inspire you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Support you.
All this network of people. I'm nothing, but these people around me are you know, like the who make it possible.
Yeah,
For
I mean,
sure.
so you definitely have the PMA. You've always had the
Cool.
PMA.
Yeah.
I mean, you made it here from having that, and you're still in your band because of that, and you still love it and appreciate it. You know what I mean? Like, you live it. It's awesome.
Being sincere
Yes,
Right.
100%. Being yourself.
and respectful to the others. But you know, it
Yeah.
wasn't always there. I remember I was, you know, there was time with
Dark
that-
places.
well,
dark times.
not dark, but being going too fast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like all of us, and be too excited about life. Like, but I mean, you need that. It's glad to be here right now, like everybody else says on this table, no matter what age they are.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
a great example of like being in the moment. Being on stage is such a incredible feeling of being in the moment. You know,
Yes.
when you're looking out and you're having this reciprocal connection with the audience.
beautiful.
It's a beautiful feeling, and it's so quick. But to stop for a second when you're on stage and to feel that is something, you know, glorious. You know, it's not like any other feeling in the world. That connection, you
It's
know,
so
it's
true.
like you're alive. Like you recognize, like, wow, this is such a gift to be alive.
I would recommend you both to try this, to jump to the audience, to sing, you know, the most powerful chorus, you know, with your audience. So try this out, because then you're in the middle of the crowd. That is the ultimate new high I've got this
Yeah.
year. It's incredible, and I come out from there and
do
I'm
that
like
a lot.
I can
I know
fly.
you can, but I'll be hurting kids. You know, my weight.
Well,
my
don't
size.
Don't jump in, but
well,
stand down
don't
there.
jump or just like go
Backflip
over
in.
the fence or
Right.
I do
slide
that.
down from the stage and go to sing among them.
This is true.
That is the best high, and that is the new moment that you need to experience.
It's incredible.
I've been doing that for years. Like if there's a barricade, I'll go in the barricade. I can't stand barricades. I'll stand in the barricade. Or the last couple of times I went into the pit, had them do a circle pit around me in Europe.
Nice.
Now I'm in the middle of the pit singing. I love that connection.
Yeah.
I don't care about the sweat. I love the sweat and the strangers jumping on you. I don't know. I love that, man.
Yeah.
That human connection. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so special.
I slipped and I fell and I tried to play it off and I was on the barricade and I was like, yo, this is amazing. You know, like I
being
forgot
down
about I forgot about this feeling of being, you know, where it started. Like where we all
Yeah.
started, like so close.
First, I was thinking that because I have like this jewelry and I have like in-ears.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
thinking like maybe they grab it and
Oh,
but
yeah.
it was everybody so polite and so supportive around me when I went there and
'Cause they love you,
and
appreciate
they
you
helped
being
me
That's cool.
back. And so you know they don't rip me in pieces because that's been also because we're popular band always been. I mean, we go on. Well, this is funny, but we all go on stage. Girls scream.
Okay.
Still,
All right.
still, yeah. So you know
I
that's
haven't been on that level.
so you know.
Only
So,
see
That's a
this.
different world than
Yeah,
ours
it's a
too.
complete-
yeah,
Yeah, different world,
it is. But I mean, so but still
We
the
got to
same.
go stage diving.
Oh yeah, still same experience. So you know, but that is the coolest thing of uniting with
Yes.
everybody who's in the room.
Yes.
Being the person on the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would recommend any singer who's listening on you guys to try that out, and you've been doing it.
Yeah.
But that's the greatest feel. It's like I know you go to this. Like in Finland, we go to swim to the sea or lake in winter.
Yes.
We put a hole there and then we dive and go there and we get this experience.
Real
I've done it a few times, but not regularly. But I know that you're doing it
Yeah,
here
I love it.
with your what is it called?
Ice plunge, cold plunge.
Yeah, but it's the same. If you go,
I know.
If you go to the audience, it's the same experience. You come up
Ooh.
there like
That's a
a
good,
totally fresh,
analogy.
like oh
Yeah.
wow,
Exhilarating.
yeah,
It's-
exactly. And
yeah.
you are so alive.
Yeah, it's even stronger, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a human being, you know.
I just want to say, end this by like, we're lucky to do what we do still, play music. You know, been doing it a long time. I'll be in my band 30 years next year. How many years you in Sepultura?
25.
And you and
Yeah, and we've done this like 30 what years now? 34 years.
so yeah, like we're still playing music. We're still touring, kind of being big kids because you don't really grow up when you're in a band. You get to travel and do what you want and have like your responsibility is just to go on stage and do your best and kill it. We have these lives that we've created for ourselves, and we're very lucky. I think it's a blessing.
Yeah, and then somebody also said that which has something to do with American music heritage, that when you're on tour, you're actually also like an outlaw.
Right.
You're outside
I
of.
think
I
it
mean,
was Bon Jovi that's in-
You did?
No,
I'm
it was
just
the
thinking of
country
lyrics.
guys, but I mean, you're out of the society.
Yes.
In certain way. I mean,
yeah.
yeah. It's you know like it's Monday. Everybody's going to work. You're in a tour bus,
Right.
going to the venue when they open up, and you're outside of the society, and also like at least that moment from the responsibilities. Of course. Not like an outlaw in that way, not like a criminal way, but you know, like
Yeah.
in the romantic
Yeah.
show business way.
We're like the outcasts of society because
Exactly.
we're just showing up to play music. We're not checking in 9 to 5,
Outsider.
having a regular
Yeah.
job with a boss, and we're just
Yeah.
I
like
think Bon Jovi did write a song about it.
Whatever.
I'm an outlaw.
Okay.
But I'm saying,
Yeah.
but the reality of touring is fantasy compared to your reality at home. So those two are like,
Yes.
I appreciate both,
Yeah.
the balance.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because when you're on tour, there's like no responsibilities. Just play. That's it. Just play.
And
Play
also
best you can.
routines.
And routine.
But also like responsibility actually on the tour is like you are the best you on stage.
Yes.
Right.
Also
Yes.
like the audience expects
Yeah.
to see the guy they've seen in the pictures and so
Yeah.
on, which I mean everybody has their own ways of doing it, but this, you have responsibility of delivering and putting out the best performance,
right.
no matter how you feel. If you are
Sick
you
or
have
not.
sick and sad and
Selfless.
and
Yeah.
anything, but you go there and the lights come up and you are supposed to shine and make people happy and get their thoughts out of their everyday life, and you have this responsibility and possibility and PMA to do that.
To kill it, yeah, man.
Amen.
Amen.
Good. That's right.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, thank you man. We did this.
Thank you.
It's
That was
been
fantastic.
Fantastic having you here.
But this was just episode number 1.
Yeah, it's a part 1 for sure.
Yeah,
with
part
you.
1.
I'm trying my Finnish perkele.
Oh.
Oh, was that good?
Yeah, it's an ancient devil from Finnish culture.
That's you know what it was? What? Thank you for being here. People can find you on your social media, all that
Anytime.
stuff, and your do you check social media?
Yes, I do.
Check your messages.
Yeah, of
and stuff
course.
like that? Okay.
There's the 69 Eyes official in Instagram, Jyrki 69 in Instagram, and also like the usual Facebooks and MySpace is not there anymore, but it was
Number 1 band on MySpace.
Yeah,
Is it
it
really
was.
gone?
It was.
It's
MySpace is gone,
Yeah,
man.
Justin Timberlake
was
bought
supposed
it
to buy it.
for 5 seconds.
He did. He never did anything with it though. It was supposed to come back.
Oh, man.
I think Facebook just crushed it.
But Tom is there.
Oh yes.
You should have him here.
Oh my God.
Can I wish a guest?
Sure.
Tom from MySpace.
Yeah, he would definitely be
Um.
a great guest.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you for being
Yeah.
here. That was a long, but it didn't feel long at all.
Yeah.
It's nice. Thanks to all the listeners, and this is such a good call. Thank you, Daniel the Swede. We love you, Daniel
Yeah,
Larson.
the
Thank you for making
Swede.
this happen, connecting us. We tried a couple of times, and now he's here, and he did it.
Tuck.
It was all. What'd you say?
Yeah.
Talk, Tusen talk, and listen to the Cramps.
Listen to the dude. The Cramps were like the
Yeah.
biggest part of this podcast.
Yes.
Shout out to the Cramps, man.
Shout out to the Cramps.
Thank you. Peace, everybody. Bye. I've always loved sweets. That's why I have 1,000 gold teeth and had cavities my whole life. But I always loved cookies. And being a vegan and being gluten-free, it's extremely difficult to get a cookie that actually tastes good. Most of those cookies are super, super dry. Until I found Maxine's Heavenly. You probably see me post about them. They're incredible. They're gluten-free. They're vegan. They're made with no refined sugars. You can get them in Whole Foods, Sprouts, Walmart, Amazon, Maxine'sHeavenly.com. And if you're in LA, you can get my favorite restaurant, Green Table's carrying them. You can also, if you're in LA, get Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Chow Now. Super, super great company. Amazing people working there. The cookies are insane. I can eat a whole bunch of them, not like you're supposed to, but I don't feel groggy and like bloated and I have that sugar crash. And every month you should sign up for the mailing list because every month you get exclusive flavor drops and the cookies get delivered right to your house. So shout out to Maxine's Heavenly, my new sponsor. I have a cookie sponsor. I can't believe it. How old am I? I'm 53 and I'm promoting cookies because I love cookies still. I'm a big kid. Vegan, gluten-free, no refined sugars. If you listen to the Travis Barker episode, me and him talked about our love for Maxine's Heavenlies as well. Great cookie. If you're a vegan and you're gluten-free, there's no other cookie to have. Maxine's Heavenly. Go to MaxineHeavenly.com, go to shop, use my code OLLC, and get 25% off your first order. That's 25% off your first order. Go to MaxineHeavenly.com, use my code OLOC. Enjoy. These cookies are straight crack. I always ask my guests if they have any regrets. I personally don't have any regrets. Even when it comes to my tattoos, I have the silliest tattoos. Even my ET on my leg, it's still a childhood memory for me, and I love it. I've had tattoos on top of tattoos strictly because I wanted more tattoos. I started getting tattoos when I was 18. I'm 52 now, and I can't stop. I've had laser treatment before on something on my arm. It's 4 tattoos on top of each other. And that experience at that place was pretty fast. It was pretty cold. It was in and out, swiped a credit card. Don't really tell me much. Didn't give me much details or anything was going to happen. So I never went back. So as of most recently, I'm so lucky enough to have had 2 sessions at Removery Tattoo Removal. My tattoo on my arm that looks like a big black blob is now super light. I've had 2 sessions. I have a long road ahead of me. None of this stuff happens overnight. You cannot take a tattoo up in one sitting. You have to be patient. And it's painful. They ice you up. It's super fast. To me, it felt like a bunch of rubber bands. But what's more painful than that is looking at something on your body that you think you're stuck with for the rest of your life. That sucks. But now for me, I'm really happy I started this journey. I'm slowly going to get this tattoo removed. I never thought in a million years I have any kind of real estate on my arm. I don't even know what I want, but it's exciting. I'm so honored to announce that One Life One Chance podcast is now with Removery. I have a code. Use TobyH20 and get $100 off your first session. Call 866-934-4570 or go to Removery.com. One of the most experienced tattoo removal companies in the world. Over 600,000 removal treatments done, 100 locations, US, Canada, and Australia. State-of-the-art peak-away laser technology, cryotechnology to reduce any discomfort. This is so exciting for me because all I do in these podcasts is talk about tattoos. From day one, if you've been listening to this podcast, we talk about tattoos, talk about getting removed, talk about getting covered up. So this is such a perfect fit for me. Once again, go to Removery.com or call 866-934-4570. Use my code TobyH20 and get $100 off. These guys are located everywhere. Try it out.